Hello there, good morning. I'm Emefa Akosiadeti and welcome to the AM show. It's Wednesday, midweek, time to reset and restart if you haven't started your objective for the week. Now, this morning is what promises to be quite packed. Yesterday was quite eventful in Parliament where the controversial levy was passed on fuel. So today, maybe a little later, when you purchase fuel, you're going to be paying 1 Ghana cedis on a litre. Now, we're going to be reviewing all of that with as well many other stories happening today. And a little later, you'd see Dr. Kwame Asasante, Head Center for European Studies, UG, and as well Dr. Jabril Mohammed, Senior Lecturer at UGB as well, and Dr. Pakwesi Abedu, Development Analyst later. And also, on our big story, as I was telling you, Minority in Parliament stages a walkout as Majority in Parliament passes the Energy Sector Levy Bill, which now imposes you're going to be paying at least 1 Ghana cedis levy on every litre of fuel you purchase. Finance Minister Kasia Lotto-Forson says this is to deal with the soaring energy sector debt that now stands at $3.1 billion. And so this morning, maybe you should really make some money available. You never know. But we're going to be paying attention to the numbers, analysis, details as well right here on the AM show. We'll also hear from the Institute of Clinical Genetics on how far we've come dealing with issues of sickle cell, which is going to be celebrated a little later in the month, 19th of June. So you want to stay with us, especially because they're going to be celebrating their 50 years of existence and all of the successes that they have chalked. You want to join us with your thoughts via phone and as well on our social media handles as well. Remember that the AM show, it's sponsored by Waylead Properties. We provide quality housing at an affordable cost and with a flexible payment option. My name is Emefa Akosiadeti. Stay with us on the AM show.
Well, it's been quite the morning. Welcome aboard the AM News. Let's dig right into it. Now, Parliament has passed the controversial Energy Sector Levy Amendment Bill, which imposes 1 Ghana cedi on every litre of fuel. Now, the bill, which was introduced under a certificate of urgency, faced stern opposition from the minority, who staged a walkout, accusing government of imposing hardship on Ghanaians. We'll be telling you how it eventually went down. But first, here's a wrap of how things unfolded on the floor before the final showdown during the second half of the sitting.
I implore both of you to resume your seat. Humbly resume your seat.
Mr. Speaker, you called me.
The introduction of this new ESLA amendment bill stoked huge debate on the floor on Tuesday when the finance minister informed the House of some changes to this bill in order to impose an additional tax on all petroleum products, which we are learning that this bill, when passed, will impose at least 1 Ghana cedi on every litre of petroleum product drivers may be buying at the fuel station. The finance minister says this has become necessary in order to offset the energy sector legacy debt, which has ballooned to some $3.1 billion as at the end of March 2025.
Honorable Speaker, to help raise additional revenue to fund the needs in the power sector, government is proposing an increase in export price of petrol, diesel, and related products. The impact will be absorbed by the gains made from the strong performance of the Ghana cedis. The Speaker, I repeat, the impact will be absorbed by the gains made from the strong performance of the Ghana cedis. And this will mean that consumers will not have to pay extra for the price of petrol and diesel beginning today.
The minority has accused the minister of betraying Ghanaians when they said they have cancelled at least 3 levies, including the electronic levy, and turning back to introduce this new levy, which will impose some hardship on Ghanaians.
The Energy Sector Levies Amendment Bill 2025 has been duly presented and read the first time. It is referred to the Finance Committee for consideration and report, including the determination of whether or not the bill is of urgent nature.
Mr. Speaker, with all the justification, what stopped him from engaging this side of the House? This morning, I must be honest that the majority leader whispered to me that something of urgent importance, of urgent value would come. Mr. Speaker, it is only important that we engage and you let us know. You come with your justification. You came here to present your budget. You presented your budget saying you are not going to introduce new taxes, new levies. Then you turn around, you say you are repealing e-levy. You are all over the place. Now you are bringing back e-levy. And then you say that the Ghanaian public will not feel it. Mr. Speaker, you repeal e-levy, reintroduce e-levy. That's what you are doing. What are you? This is the e-levy. You have introduced e-levy. Then you say that you run it through certificate of urgency. Mr. Speaker,
honorable members,
the e-levy being introduced.
Honorable members, this is a house of record.
What is it?
Honorable members, this is a house of record. The bill introduced, which I have just referred, is energy sector levies bill.
It is e-levy.
So this is not electronic levy.
Mr. Speaker, with respect, allow the minority to have its say. You allowed the minister to speak. What is energy sector levy? Short form e-levy, is it not it? The energy. What is energy? Is it not E? How do you spell energy? Is it not capital E? The short form of the law, the levy, is e-levy. You are reintroducing e-levy. That's what you are doing. Reintroducing e-levy. And you are going to tax Ghanaians. Mr. Speaker, and you say under certificate of urgency.
1 Ghana cedi each when they buy a liter of fuel so that we can end doom so. That's all. 1 cedis. All of us should contribute 1 cedis. Just 1 cedi per so that we can end doom so. 1 cedi. Each of us, when we buy fuel, 1 liter.
The prices are going down.
1 cedi. And Mr. Speaker, it is not e-levy. It's not e-levy. That is what it is. The matter has been referred to the committee. Let's all hold on. The committee will present a report to us, and when we consider the report, we can debate all these matters.
Updating Parliament on some new development from his ministry, the Finance Minister Kersel Atuforsen also indicated that he has released some 987 million Ghana cedis from the Consolidated Fund to the District Assembly Common Fund for onward release to the various assemblies.
Mr. Speaker, as I say, a minimum of 25 million Ghana cedis will go to every district assembly, a minimum. As at yesterday, we have transferred the sum of 987 million. Mr. Speaker, as at yesterday, the district assemblies has received, and we have transferred, the District Assembly Common Fund has received, and we have transferred the sum of 965,073 Ghana cedis from the Consolidated Fund to the District Assembly's Common Fund, being the first quarter amount due the District Assembly Common Fund for the year 2025.
On the controversial statutory funds, the minister said all allocations to this fund has been completed, including allocations to the National Health Insurance Scheme, as well as over 2 billion Ghana cedis to the GET Fund. It is also expected that Parliament will expedite the approval of this new ESLA bill so that the imposition of this new taxes on petroleum products will kickstart immediately. From Parliament House here in Accra, I am James Saveji for Joy News.
Well, interesting scenes from Parliament. But in the new turn of events, the House decided to work on the bill, passed it as well, regardless of the minority's walkout.
After a short adjournment, Parliament returned with the Energy and Finance Committees recommending that the Energy Sector Levy Amendment Bill be taken on a certificate of urgency. But the minority opposed the process, criticizing the majority of betraying Ghanaians and trying to impose hardship on them by taxing fuel products by 1 Ghana cedi per litre and even staged a walkout.
Let me start by saying that the minority is vehemently against this particular tax. Vehemently. Mr. Speaker, today we are standing with the Ghanaian people. Mr. Speaker, I am excited this particular debate is being beamed live for everybody to see. Every Ghanaian has seen that the majority is jubilating over an increment of taxes. Yes. Mr. Speaker, in this house, the key people who argued, the key people who argued in this house, Dr. Ato Forsen, my very good brother John Dinapo, and Mr. Adongo, the same people who were speaking against taxes are today the same people laying papers, introducing statements, and making arguments for new taxes.
To say that all the taxes they abolished put together did not bring us 5 billion Ghana cedis. Put together did not bring us 5 billion Ghana cedis. This government is seeking to raise 5.7 billion Ghana cedis from the increase in the levies for petroleum products. Mr. Speaker, I said in this house during the debate on the budget that this government, in abolishing the taxes, was giving you something in your hand with the left hand, and they were going to take it back from your hand with their right hand, and not only take it from your hand, but take what was in your pocket in addition. And this is exactly what they are doing with the petroleum taxes that they are increasing.
We will see no increase. Rather, we will see a marginal reduction even after this energy. Mr. Speaker, I want to assure the people of Ghana that if you are to buy petrol today from Total Energies, after this levy, you will still save 10 pesos. Mr. Speaker, if you are to buy petrol from Star Energies, after this levy, you will still save 47 pesos. Mr. Speaker, if you are to buy petrol from Vivo Energy, after this levy, you will still save 30 pesos. Mr. Speaker, that is the kind of work we are doing. But Right Honorable Speaker, to conclude on this matter, I want to assure the people of Ghana that the currency stability will continue. The Ghana cedi will remain strong. The Ghana cedi is doing well, and this trajectory will continue.
Eventually, the bill got passed, even in the absence of the minority.
Mr. Speaker, and I am challenging your decision on the voice votes and inviting you to a head count. And Mr. Speaker, when the decision of the Speaker is challenged on a voice vote, you must follow the procedure. So I'm challenging your decision on the voice vote.
Mr. Speaker, if the majority, they claim they are super majority, if they have their 187, they should at least bring 138 now and take a decision. You don't have 138, Mr. Speaker. They don't have 138.
Honorable Clerk.
Come on, Mr. Speaker.
All those against the motion rise on your feet to be counted. So the clerk, you have a
Well, let's get into the stories now. And the Ghana Association of Banks is upbeat that the new set of regulatory measures by the Central Bank for commercial banks targeting online charges and non-performing loans, among others, will go a long way to sanitize the financial system. Chief Executive of the Association of Banks, John Ewa, stated that a collaborative effort between the regulator and the banks would strengthen the financial landscape. He spoke to Joy Business.
As I go through the list of the measures that the central bank wants to introduce, I cannot see one that works against the banking industry. It is to improve the ecosystem. You talk about the digital lending guideline. Obviously, what we are having now, where today there's this company advertising that we are providing lending on our platform, most of whom we don't even know where they are operating from. And the bank governor is saying we are going to introduce guidelines to guide the conduct of practitioners in this environment. It helps the industry. When I say the industry, the entire financial services industry. The governor talked about consumer protection pricing mechanism, which we have already spoken about, which is the OIF, the optional issuance fee. It's not like the banks are overcharging the customers, but it's clear that as the currency has maintained some stability, the window that enables banks to play in to take care of the potential depreciation has bridged. And therefore, yes, it's 2% the number, that one I can't tell. We await the details. If you talk about the other issue on addressing high NPLs, as I said, high NPLs is a cost and a charge to the bank's capital levels. So if you want to accumulate capital, we should all work together to bring the level of non-performing loans down. The governor says it's going to work with banks and in the system to work out a mechanism that helps us to reduce the NPLs.
Well, from the banking and financial sector, let's get into our commodities market. Well, that's how we cap off our business update. Stay tuned for Sports Up next with Muftar Nabila Abdullahi. He will definitely be talking about Kwesi Nyantakyi, former boss of the Ghana Football Association. He says he's dedicating the rest of his life to helping inmates in the Nsawam prisons. He'll bring you details of that and more. Do stay.
And we settled for those stories in detail. And before we bring you that story, let's talk about the statement the Ghana Football Association has released, saying that they've taken note of the incidents that happened during the Ghana Premier League match day 33 encounter between Nations FC and Baseke Holy Stars. And the FA says that it has taken note of reports of violent incidents that occurred during the Ghana Premier League match between Baseke Holy Stars and Nations FC, which was played over the last weekend. The association has commenced a thorough investigation into the reported incidents. The statement went further to assure Ghanaians that all stakeholders, they are assuring Ghanaians and all stakeholders, including clubs, players, match officials and supporters, and the general public, that it remains committed to safeguarding the integrity of the game and will deal with all issues arising from this matter expeditiously and decisively. We urge all parties involved to cooperate fully with the ongoing investigations. Further updates will be provided in due course. It's quite interesting that the Ghana Football Association took nearly 72 hours or more to actually take note of these incidents, considering the fact that they are always swift in terms of their actions against clubs and players or officials who bring the image of the game into disrepute. Now, let's hear from the sports minister, Kofi Adams, who says that he's yet to be given a full briefing of what transpired in that game between Baseke Holy Stars and Nations FC. However, he has censured the action that he believes is inimical to the development of football in the country.
The unfortunate incident, but I have not received the full briefing of what went in and what didn't go in. However, investigations are ongoing. It's quite unfortunate that we'll continue to have such situations. What I have seen and know we must do is to have proper education of one. Club owners, club management need serious education even before the fans. Our club owners seems not to be up to the task. Some of them, not all, some of them seems not to be up to the task beyond just owning the clubs. They seems not to be up to the task. Management of some clubs clearly seem not to understand. They are so clueless about what football is all about. We need really to spend some time in dealing with this category of persons also, even before we go to the fans. Then the officiating officials and badge commissioners, referees and their assistants must also have their part. And people must be punished when they are found to have done something wrong, irrespective of their status in the country or political affiliation or what have you. We must have the strength and tenacity to punish people when they go wrong. That is the only way that as a country, Ghana, that have a lot of love for football, we will benefit from it. But if we allow things to continue this way, you will have 90% of your football-loving people focus on the European leagues and other leagues other than your own league. But that is not why some of us are there. And so I'm waiting for the final report, that we will go into all these matters. And we think that our club owners, our club management need serious education, and we must pay some particular attention on those two bits. Of course, also the officiating officials.
The former president of the Ghana Football Association, Ghc1 Fuel, has launched what he described as the prison football project. It is an initiative he did in partnership with the Professional Footballers Association of Ghana. It was launched at the Ghc1 medium security prisons on Tuesday. He used that as an opportunity to tell the prisoners that he would dedicate the rest of his life to supporting their welfare. The Ghc1 medium security prison became the stage for a unique football revival led by former Ghana Football Association president. The prison football project aims to use the power of football to reform lives behind bars.
We want you to know that when you are in prison, you are still part of the society. We cherish all of you. We respect you. You are part of us. We will never forsake you. We think that it's a learning curve in your life. You will come out of this prison stronger and contribute your quota to the society. Obasanjo, Nelson Mandela, and many leaders went to prison and came out, and they were better people. This initiative that we are launching today was probably done long time in the past by some of our brothers. Abedi Pele and his brother Kwame Ayu and Nania FC, they used to come and play here. Alhaji Ibrahim Slaitete, may his soul rest in peace, used to bring Liberty Oldies here to come and play football. It is all part of our contribution to reassure you that you are part of the society.
Incarceration does not mean the end of the world. They are here to reform, and it is our duty to reform them. They are also happy on their behalf to also say they thank you for wasting time off your busy schedule to come and then be with them. The pep talks you've given them alone will go a long way to motivate them.
The event brought together football greats like Anthony Bafo, Maxwell Konadu, Sami Kufuor, Godwin Atram, Augustine Anhimfo, Emmanuel Ajimambedu, Yao Preko, Yusuf Chipsa, and many more whose presence underscored the importance of restoring dignity to those behind bars.
The number 10 from the blue team is from my town. And a lot of people that I know here from Ashtown, from Kumasi, Crofrom, it's unbelievable. But like the president said, it's not the end of the world. We are still here just to support you guys. And next time we come here strongly to come and see you, maybe with a lot of donation once again.
But there are people in here, because of impatience, they've been locked up. So, and it shows that no matter who you are, if you don't do the right thing, you'll be caged. So I think the people here have taught us a great lesson, if we don't already know.
I met a lot of people I know. Some are even coming from my hometown that I never knew were here. But due to one or two mistakes they made, they found themselves here. But me, I'm humbled. And I think going home, I'll be more patient than I was before.
No, I mean, you could see that he has talent. He's a very good player. And it's sad to see such a talent, I mean, lavishing here. So I got in touch with him to find out why he was there and how many years he used to spend there. So I just gave him that money just to encourage him, because all he needs, not just him, all the inmates, all they need is encouragement from people outside of this environment for them to know that life is not still over for them.
Seriously, I have learned a lot. In fact, most of the things I have learned here today is a different experience altogether. You know, I was able to interact with some of the inmates. I feel so sad for some of them. And also the perception and that stigma of thinking that if somebody is a prisoner, the person is bad or something. I think from today I've had a change of mind. I feel so sad, though I'm happy to have that experience today, but I'm also very sad.
People who are sentenced to death are not really executed. They are just sent here and you are there for the rest of your life. Imagine your brother, your friend, your father, or your uncle is sent there. How will you feel? I felt it. I didn't know any of them, but that was how I felt. And one of them made a comment which touched me. He said, your visit here has really lessened the burden on us. It means that our worries and thinking and all those things will be lessened in a way. Me, from a personal position, I want to commit myself to working to better the lot of prisoners for the rest of my life. I want to do it, yes. I want to do that.
For a few hours, they were no longer inmates, but athletes, competitors, men with dreams. And let's talk the Black Queens now. They were in Côte d'Ivoire for friendly matches against the Ivorian national team. And the first match ended 3-3, but the second one, the Black Queens lost yesterday. And in 5 matches since the appointment of Kim as the head coach of Ghana's Black Queens, he's won just 1, lost 3, and drawn 1 match. It was the final preparatory match towards the Women's African Cup of Nations. That will be starting late July. And many people have begun to raise concerns about the performance of the head coach heading into a major competition. Now, we wrap up with some transfer news that have been happening around the world. That's your AM Sports. For now, we do have more sports stories on myjoyonline.com.
A warm welcome back to our studios. We'll be serving you the news review in just a bit. Those who will be joining us, Dr. Kwame Asante. He is a political scientist and head of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. We also have senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Jabir Mohammed, and Dr. Pakwesi Eduafo Abedu, a development analyst. All of them will be joining us in a bit. And of course, right here to my left, Emefa Akosia Adeti.
Hello, Mr. Akakwo. How are you?
The way you are glowing this morning, what we've been through, and you are not showing what we've been through. But we'll talk about that later. Let's just remind ourselves that yesterday in Parliament, we had that development with what the minority leader called the new E-levy. Mm-hmm. And why does he call it an E-levy? He says, but is it not an energy levy? He says energy with a capital E. So E-levy for him. But Finance Minister Kasia Forson has been talking about the fact that, look, we owe so much in the energy sector, and that if we're going to forestall power outages and all of that, we have to sacrifice a bit, which is why they are imposing this add-on when it comes to the energy sector levy, so that we'll pay 1 cedi per 1 litre of fuel. But the minority did not take it lying down. They actually staged a walkout. The bill was actually passed, or the levy actually went through the motions. It was passed, and very soon we'll be paying an extra cedi on every litre. The question is, are you ready? We're going to be having a conversation with the oil marketing company in just a bit, the oil marketing company group in just a bit, to find out what their take is on this entire development. The finance minister said that we would still gain, depending on where you buy your fuel, 30 pesos, 40 pesos, and more. But is that enough for you? I don't know. Because some people are saying it's eroding basically everything we've done.
I mean, in one breath. So you remember how the minority described it, that they said that you give with the left and then you take back with the right.
That was former finance minister.
But for real, is that true? That is that enough to say that the majority or the government is giving with the left and really taking back? Right. Otherwise, what's their proposal to really take care of the energy sector debt?
But there's an interesting point that was made right before we get to our guests. Indeed, it is politics, and once you're on the other side, you will have to play it. But there was also the point made about the fact that during his tenure, when they brought through, before him actually, when they brought through the E-levy and all of that, they had certain grandiose estimations of where it would get them, and it did not yield those results. And so the question is, with this 1 Ghana cedi per litre of fuel, is it going to bring the sort of money that government expects to plug the hole of our energy sector debt? That's the question.
On the face of it, Benjamin, on the face of it, plus I'm not the resource person, but on the face of it, I think it will go a long way. Why? Because it's just one of the things you cannot dodge. Unlike E-levy, you recall, people will say, "Man, momo. Don't send it through that. I will bring it to you." People would rather pay in cash. There was a term that some people were using, brefie beji. I'm not sending it through Momo, but for fuel, I'm telling you. But for fuel, I really can see how you can dodge it. And when the government imposes a levy on a policy that you cannot dodge or you cannot maneuver, that way they are able to collect the funds that they need. But the question will be, will that be equitable?
Will it be equitable? Let's bring in our guests on that particular beat as well, even before you share your opening remarks with us. Dr. Kwame Asante joins the conversation. Please, gentlemen, good morning. Let me just hear all of you online.
Good morning, sir. And good morning, MFA.
Good morning, Doc.
Dr. Mohammed, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, good morning, Ben, and good morning to our listeners.
All right, Dr. Abedu, are you there? Do we have Dr. Abedu? Okay. I just saw, I don't know whether we have River Singopong online with us yet. All right. So, Doc and Doc, just to check with you, what are your thoughts? I know you have something else you would have spoken about, but Dr. Asante, what do you make of this add-on when it comes to the energy sector levy? 1 cedi per 1 litre of fuel.
Yeah, As a political scientist, I know what we call state capacity, the ability for state to raise revenue to run its own affairs.
Right.
And I have not shy away from this position. So at each point in time, you expect the state to find innovative means by which it can make money to run its own affairs. On that score, you realize that there's nothing wrong with that the state will continue to impose taxes, and part of which can be used to run certain programs for us. That aside, there is also the problem that people want to, that we have in this country, as to whether monies that we raise, we use it for the purposes for which we derive them. And that has been a lingering question all the years, that do we apply them judiciously? So that's another side. And if you look at the fact that the money is going to be used to address energy sector, debts and all that, good cause, why not? It's a good one. But if you flip the coin, I would describe as nothing but robbing Peter to pay Paul. We told you that maintain E-levy, because the E-levy, it was not so easy to avoid. You get some maintain, and they say no, and I have maintained the position that, look, continue to maintain E-levy and use it to deal with some of these things. You take away E-levy and you introduce this. Obviously, people will tell you that, look, is it not the same thing you are bringing, that 1 cedi and all that? So what have you done? You have just abolished one tax and replace it with another, with the same incidence of tax. The magnitude is the same. So what are you talking about? It's nothing but robbing Peter to pay Paul. Simply put.
All right, thank you for those thoughts. Let me bring in Dr. Jabir Mohammed. Doc, what is your take on this?
All right, so thank you so much. I have a key interest in the energy sector because I'm an energy economist myself.
Okay.
Particularly, if you look at the energy sector, that we have about $2.2 billion, as announced by the last time, by the finance minister and even by the energy minister. Frankly speaking, yes, the 1 Ghana cedi per every liter, how much are we seeking to raise in the first place? Can we have that 1 cedi per liter that is going to give us the quantum of money that we need over the period of time to be able to raise the needed funding to finance the energy sector? Or vis-a-vis, if the E-levy was in place, was the E-levy going to address the problem or not? That is a question that we should be asking ourselves. And I'm sure that they have done their analysis and they have recognized that the 1 Ghana cedi that they are adding on is going to help resolve the problems in the energy sector. Yes, nobody wants to pay tax. Tax is something that everybody is trying to run away from. But when the realities are dawning on us, we have to come on board to help to support the system so that at the end of the day, we can go on. Yes, I know that people income or disposable income are going to reduce because you are going to be paying additional amount of money, which you haven't planned for. For instance, if I buy 45 liters of fuel in a week, it means that I'm going to be paying about 45 Ghana cedi more. So in a month, I'm going to be paying about 180 Ghana cedi more, which means that my disposable income has reduced by 180 Ghana cedis, which I could have used for other things else. So these are the concerns that each and everyone will have to have. But what is the cost if you run your electricity down? If your light is not working and you have to be buying fuel to be able to finance that, it means that you will need additional income to do so. So if you compare the additional 1 cedi that you'll be paying on each of the liter that you buy, vis-a-vis how much you have paid if you have to buy fuel to power your generator, you realize that you are paying less for more energy that you have to use. So let's balance the act. In as much as the government may be wrong, or we individuals must agree and ensure that we allow the stability to work on as planned.
All right. Thank you for those thoughts. Let me take quick thoughts from Dr. Beidu. Is this justified in your opinion as Dr. Mohammed explains it. If we don't do this, the cost could be higher. What's your take? Hello, Dr. Abeidu. All right. So, Dr. Abeidu, I'll come to you later for your remarks on that. But let's get to Riverson or Pong Pepra. He is one of the leading executives. He's a boss of one of the oil marketing companies, the group, and he joins the conversation. Good morning, Mr. Pepra. Hello, Dr. Pepra. Sorry I called you Mr. earlier. Dr. Pepra, can you hear me, sir?
Are you calling for Riverson Opong or Mr. Pepra? I'm just confused.
Okay, so I see Riverson Opong, actually. Okay. My apologies for mentioning Pepra.
Right, okay, that's fine. So thank you. Let me start by educating the public.
Right.
Okay. That petroleum product, okay, is already in the electricity levy, or let me say the tariff.
Right.
So if you pay 100 cedis of electricity bill, there is a component that goes to petroleum product, whether gas or liquid being for the electricity generation.
Right.
The whole notion about the pump price is coming down, so let's slash it with one cedi. It is not economic, and I'm very surprised a lecturer is advocating for this. You know.
But please, Mr. Opong, Dr. Opong, please make your point without lampooning the lecturer. You can make your point without lampooning the lecturer.
Let's discuss this very.
Dr. Opong, all I'm saying is please make your point without lampooning the lecturer. It's not fair.
I hear you.
Thank you.
I hear you.
Thank you.
Let's discuss this holistically by understanding the impact of it. Last year, I made a statement that I was very happy that for the first time, no political party played with the petroleum price at the pump level and used that to do any political gimmicks. Because you do not control the international benchmark prices. Now, when the fuel price started coming down, it didn't start coming down because the cedi became stable or it was going down. It started coming down because flat price started coming down due to WTI and Brent coming down. Okay? Then the cedi became stable and supported the agenda. As we speak today, in the last window, Plat's already going up. Obviously, winter days, Plat will go up. Are you going to say that now Plat is going up, so let me take that levy off? There are other options, okay? And before ESLA, which is already on the petroleum price, there are so many energy sector, energy debt, energy support already slashed on the petroleum price. Why is the downstream sector the only sector to always suffer for power or the general energy sector debt issues? When the ordinary Ghanaian is still paying for fuel in the component of electricity generation. Now, when we pick this whole scenario, obviously the pump price is going to go up vis-a-vis the already existing taxes. My members, which are the oil marketing companies, their margins are always shrinking. They are forced to shrink their margins just to compete. And nobody is talking about that. There are so many issues in the downstream sector which I expected this government by the 6th month to be discussing with the stakeholders. None of them, only for us to hear that there's one cedi slashed with no stakeholder engagement. Before ESLA was slashed, there was stakeholder engagement and it was adopted by the whole industry. Where are we going with this one cedi? How is it sustainable? How can we justify it economically?
You've come through with a number of thoughts, and it's important that you mentioned that even before the introduction of this, there has been an energy sector levy. So this is a tuning up or an add-on. But let me just get your thoughts here. You say there are other options. What are those options from where you sit?
So today, like I said, if you pick the electricity tariff, okay, there is a fuel component. Why don't you slash this one cedi at the fuel component in the electricity tariff? Obviously, that's why it's going to set. It's going to be used to buy fuel or to support the sector. So if you're adding on to another sector that contributes nothing to the power generation, where are we going with it? You know, so has PLC been consulted? Did the PLC say that that's not doable? Obviously it's doable because there's quarterly review of the electricity tariff. And this could have easily been slashed on it without even going to Parliament, because you still need money to buy fuel.
River Singh, you do realize that in recent times, we have had an adjustment from the PURC of both electricity and water prices. You remember that, right?
I do.
And you are saying that we should have gone back to that same place to increase further to deal with the energy sector debt?
So what I'm saying is this. There is a fuel component in the electricity tariff.
Right.
Why is it that we know that we have a cost-reflective tariff? And the cost-reflective tariff in economics simply means that the tariff we have set is able to pay for the cost of generation, transmission, and distribution. All right, and therefore the fuel component in the tariff, which is part of the generation, is already implemented in the tariff. So if it's not enough, what do you do in a cost-reflective mode? Just adjust it at the regulatory level and have enough money to pay for your fuel. That's what I'm saying.
Well, Doug, well, belated birthday to you. What a way to celebrate your birthday with an increase in energy sector levy. But belated birthday to you. And so you're saying that the existing levies, MFR here, please. You're saying that the existing levies, if we adjusted the ones that we have without introducing a new one, will be able to curb the energy sector debt. And I see that you're giving some education on it. Is this to suggest that without this current energy sector levy that they have introduced, the existing ones, if you did the math on it, on the face of it, will still be able to raise enough funds to be able to pay for the soaring debt that we have now?
That could have been a worst case scenario. I mean, coming back to the downstream sector and say, guys, look, this is the issue we have. There's already ESLA, which you remember very well at the early part of this year when fuel price was skyrocketing. I suggested that could ESLA be looked at. I received a call from political figures that let's not talk about ESLA. We review it. We'll sit down with you and everything and understand how to work it out. If you go to ESLA, there's also, apart from ESLA, there's also the energy bond, whatever, going to Energy Commission. All right. So for me, what could have been a worst case scenario was even to come back to those ESLAs and probably review some of them that are impetuous. But to bring a whole levy new and with no, I mean, there are no caveats. So today, if the flat price hits, let's say 800, and therefore fuel price needs to go back to let's say 17, are you still going to keep that 1 cedi? Because the justification for me is wrong, saying that fuel prices are coming down, so let's just add 1 cedi to solve another problem which was not caused by you and I. Because don't you pay electricity bill? You pay. And in that electricity bill, what I'm saying is that there's already a fuel component in that electricity bill to take care of fuels.
So if really, because of the cedi appreciation, they thought that why not? They are going to be making gains at that level, and so they should introduce this one cedi per liter. Where we are now, the oil marketing companies, at some point, we're going to be purchasing this fuel anyway. Barring all of the concerns that you're raising, how are you intending to implement it?
The implementer is NPA. And GRA, as you could see. Let me say this. Fuel prices are not stable, regardless of the cedi appreciation or not. And this is something you and I have no control over. We can't say that flat price, Ghana will go and haul and hot flat price when it's going up, which is already the case. Using the cedi as the caveat is totally wrong, because remember that we were once at 7 cedi per liter in a pump before the cedi depreciated. So for me, I'd have rather we even plateaued at a point that, let's say, for about 5 consecutive windows, the cedi now is at 10, it's pegged at 11, or it's a peg at whatever regime it is. And it's a pump price. And we are very sure that the plat price in the forecast regime will be at this. Then we have this economic justification around adding to the existing levies instead of bringing another slash of a levy, which will not be sustainable, because when the plat start going up, and I'm not saying this, that if the city start misbehave, and we are still going to keep it, is the adaptation that has a problem. Because see, if you toss up the coin to the other side and things start misbehaving in the market, are you going to go back to Parliament to take it off? Which I doubt, because those other levies, we were promised that when things go bad, we'll take it off. When things went to 17, 18, nobody did anything about it.
So I hear you say that MP and Jerry, of course, they are the implementers, but we've got this convention in this country where if any product or service, anything that is taxed, usually it is rolled over indirectly to the consumer. I see that it looks like it would affect the OMCs as well, but for the consumer as well, when we're purchasing at your pumps, is it to suggest that you're not rolling it over in any way, indirectly at all, so that you, as a company as well, you're cushioned a little bit?
Forget it, Imifa. Forget it. I just told you that my members today are shrinking their margins. Today, taxes and levies consume more than 13%. OMC margins is around 3%. What we cushion again? All the government knows is just bringing tariffs, bringing levies, and then diminishing our members, what do you call it, margin. And nobody can cushion it. Obviously, it's you and I, the consumers, that are going to suffer. Obviously, people at the top wouldn't have so much impact because they'll probably not buy fuel. But the point is, it has a long way going into the economy. You know, because people are happy the pump price is readjusting itself to its normals, right? Because if you look at the sub-region, we are one of the heavily taxed petroleum products markets in Africa. You understand? So to bring this new one is entirely blow to the sector. And I'm calling for an emergency board meeting this morning. We'll decide what to do going forward.
All right, you're going to be deciding what to do going forward. What options are on the table in terms of what you can do? I have other angles I want to look at, but since you've already gone there, when you meet, what are the angles you're looking at?
About that on top of my board meeting. Thank you.
You don't have any thoughts on top of your mind that you can share with us? I mean, you've already spoken a lot about how you feel about the situation. What are some of the discussions that you are going to bring up?
It's onto the board.
It's onto the board. Okay, so let me just ask you this very quickly. You talk about your margins, which have had to shrink so that you can accommodate people buying, the general population. Two things. One, on the back of the likelihood of power outages and some of what we are already seeing in the system, did we have the luxury of time to play that waiting game of about 5-6 months of trying to ensure the city is at 10 to $1, among others, before we shake up? And then two, you talk about the fact that since on electricity, we pay already for some of these things, including fuel, it shouldn't have been slapped on fuel itself. How about roads? We pay for roads from different sectors. Then we also end up paying road tolls as have been reintroduced, or the plan is. Health as well, health insurance, but we pay for health on some other purchases we make and all of that. How do you rationalize this?
So have you also asked yourself that there were other sectors that could have also consumed and supported this agenda?
I am not disputing that.
Why slash another levy on already a seriously levied price build-up? You know, okay. You can justify anything that you want to justify, all right? I can tell you it's a good agenda to stop doing so and all right. But I have sat in a committee with PRC in the World Bank project called the Cash Water Flow Mechanism, all right? And I know for sure that there are fuel components that could have been adjusted to complement this, and easily, and without even going to pass any act or go to any parliament for approval, because there is the fuel component. And if the fuel component is inadequate to purchase liquid fuel, increase it. What do you lose from that?
So in other words, Doc, you're saying that let me just confirm, are you saying that you are not fundamentally against this, but it's the fact that it's coming the way it is? You mentioned, I believe, the downstream sector. So the OMCs are taking a direct hit. Is that to say you are not against it, but it is where the money is being slapped or the levy is being slapped that is the problem?
This is the point. Where it's being slashed, how it's being slashed is what we are speaking against. Because apart from the consumer, like MFS said, we are still going to have a lot of issues with some of my marketing companies, because some of them do cash and carry, and they prepay GRA before they lift from the BDCs. What this means is that their capital needs to be increased. I mean, that's their working capital to lift 1 liter would now need to be increased by 1 cedi.
Right.
All right. And that would be an issue to also discuss at the board today.
All right. So the bottom line, you are not against it, but it shouldn't have come to you.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that this is totally not sustainable at this point. Okay,
so it shouldn't have gone anywhere. This levy shouldn't have come. We shouldn't have found a way of, solving this problem.
It belongs. It should go to the electricity market. PRC should deal with it, not MP and GRA.
Okay, so it should have gone the way of the electricity market. PRC should have dealt with it. We have the experience of the e-levy, which was meant to raise a quantum of money, and it ended up disappointing woefully. We got about 10% thereabouts of what we expected. Do you suspect, now that it's been passed anyway, do you suspect that it will help raise the sort of funds we need to plug our energy sector debt hole?
Is it to me?
Yes, Doc. We're staying with you.
So, I mean, I know that they've worked at the numbers. They've worked at the numbers. And apparently, if you look at the act, it's 1 cedi to diesel and petrol, and I think 70 cents to LPG. to slash another tariff on LPG is not good. I mean, nobody can justify this. How do you promote clean cooking? How would demand? Because remember, August price is not decreasing as much as flat price. So that's what I'm saying, that we really should have had an engagement, probably to understand the impact. If you look at the volumes that we lift as a country, you agree with me that if you look at even petrol and diesel alone, okay, and you run the numbers based on the supply and demand, the government is actually looking at, I don't know which figures they are looking, but if I take a look at last year volumes that we did, it means that the government is going to raise about 4.9 billion Ghana cedis. Converted to dollars, how much fuel can we buy? All right, so from almost $5 billion, if this was last year on last year's volume, this is what probably they'll be looking at, and even this year. Right. But let me also mention that one of the options that could be is that there are other subsidized fuel like premise, MGO, what do you call it, cell site stuff. Why can't the government start by taking this subsidy off and taking the taxes that is due the government? Because obviously there's no gain to the ordinary Ghanaian with this levies, with this subsidy. So why can't the government start selling it at the right price, taking the non-subsidy, and make roughly about 1 billion from this? And then we do a stepwise kind of adjustment, instead of just flashing it with no engagement.
So you're saying that you were, just a final bit, you were not engaged at any point on this extra?
At all. But like I said, ESLA went through the process and it was adapted without any query. Go back to history. It was accepted because we understood we had an issue. But just tell them that fuel price is coming down, so let me add 1 cedi is not justifiable, not economics. This is not economics at all.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Riverson Opong. He is Chief Executive, Association of Oil Marketing Companies. He joined the conversation. MFA, I guess we'd be finding out from our guests, and I'm sure Dr. Mohammed would want to respond.
I know.
Some of what...
Dr. Riverson doesn't sound like a happy man this morning.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
Yeah. Well, let's go to our guest. I hope that they were able to listen in and understand his point as well. But if they're still with us, let's start with maybe Dr. Mohammed. Let's hear you respond, as Dr. Riverson is not quite happy this morning, suggesting that, well, it's not about the levy. It's about where it's coming from. And he's suggesting that why not impose this levy on other existing sectors, maybe increase it or intensify the way you're collecting it, but not necessarily bring very new one, which he thinks really affects them or us most. What's your reaction to this?
Well, obviously, he's not going to be happy as a CEO of the oil marketing companies. If I'm the one, I will not be happy about that. But frankly speaking, to attack people's personality is not something that I will sign for.
And Doc,
he should have been
our apologies for that. That's why I cut him on that point.
Because my point was that if the levy is coming in for the purpose of generating additional revenue, so I made comparative analysis. I spoke about the fact that our disposable incomes are going to be affected. And obviously, if the tax burden, you see, petroleum prices are usually inelastic. So if the prices are increasing, it does not necessarily affect the one supplying the product. Because obviously, if the price go up, it is the final consumer who is going to pay for the final outcome of it. Yes, I may agree with him for the point that there are inefficiencies in the electricity sector. And these inefficiencies should not be bought by everybody in Ghana. It should be bought by electricity consumers. But he himself, he knows very well that the pump that they use to pump it, they use electricity to do that. So at the end of the day, if the authorities sit down and make analysis, and they think that if we place a 1 cedi on this, even though yes, economically it may not make complete sense because if prices are going up, it's going to have a serious impact on the price buildup. Because you see, it is international oil prices that determine how much prices should be determined locally. You cannot say that because cedi is appreciating, and for that matter, I'm adding 1 cedi. That's not economic sense.
Right.
But I mean, to begin to build up a particular price formula, it is something that we have to be beginning to look at it. So if there is already a price formula for petroleum sector, all the time they work with it. But I know that the PURC is not currently doing a particular, a very good cost-reflective pricing in terms of electricity. Whatever at all we are paying is not the actual true price of electricity that we are enjoying. We are even enjoying the service more than what we are paying. But you know, to make it more inclusive, you cannot increase the price too much on electricity because everybody is a good that everybody is supposed to consume. Right. So if the prices are too high, consumption becomes a problem. Poor people cannot have access to electricity. So that is how come that even in the villages, electricity is subsidized for them as compared to the cities. You pay more as compared to the cities. If you look at businesses pay more than what households are paying. And now there is even a research we did recently to be able to help government to reverse the prices from what the industries are paying back to the household. So these are things that, yes, I agree with him on a particular point that we can look at the price component in the PURC price buildup, where the fuel is, so that we can make a little adjustment there. But is that money going to be enough to cover what they want to do?
All right.
So if we want to do so, then we can also split it. We can slap a little bit on petroleum and slap a little bit there, even though there is already heavily embedded tax, a lot of heavily tax burden on petroleum sector.
Right.
I will agree with you because if you look at the ESLA alone, we are paying a lot of money in there. Some time back, there was even this.
And please wrap on the point, Doc, for us. Yes. Go ahead.
So these are the things that we have to do. But I want to say that next time he wants to speak, at least he should be circumspect in some of the things that he says.
And Doc, again, I apologize. That's why I tried to alert him to the fact that he could make his point without attacking your personality. MFA.
Yeah, let's go to Dr. Sasanti. Doc, Help me understand something. So he says that it's not the duty to bear this and that we should look at PRCU, where Dr. Mohammed has actually just mentioned that, well, we're unable to collect. It looks like we enjoy more electricity than how much revenue we collect. Looking at the challenge that electricity company is facing, all of us are facing that as a country. They're clearly unable to collect more than they are selling. And we're asking that we rather put this levy on the tariff, which will mean that PRC would have to now implement this as well. I want clarity on two things. How equitable is this? That the person who is unable to collect, you're still adding more responsibility. And for those who are able to pay, we ask them to pay more. Help me understand this. And for the government, what's the middle line? Where would they really have gone to be able to raise the funds that they are needing to be able to clear the debt?
You see, when you look at all this, it borders on one thing, that sometimes we have to reflect on the policies we come out thoroughly in order to take bold decisions. Yeah, political campaigns and all that, you can say a lot of things, but when you look back to it and then you may make some statements during campaign, but during governance, the reality will dawn on you. I would have thought that, look, maintain the e-levy, all right? It doesn't matter how much it brings. Already you have what? COVID levy, maintain that, maintain the betting tax, and then use it to see whether it can address this problem. If you have done that, and you realize that there are still shortfalls, then you look at other means. Because you see, the reaction from minority and from the section of the public is that you have promised us that you abolish a number of taxes, which indeed you have gone ahead to abolish them. And within a short time, reintroducing a new set of tax, you will politically, you are wrong. You are going to have what? A pushback. But if you have maintained what already exists in the system, you would have saved yourself all the attacks and the noise, right? And then see how best you can what? Even if you don't get the numbers right, you see other innovative means which you can add up. But once you bring this thing right away after abolishing some of these taxes, obviously it becomes politically incorrect and people will respond. And that is why people are responding the way they need to, juggle these things very well in order to what? Avoid they having a confrontation with what consumers and all that. Because take it or leave it, nobody is interested in paying taxes. But it is the reality on the ground that we need taxes to run the affairs of the state. That burden, that tax, that debt which exists within the energy sector, you and I have to pay. And there must be ways of what? Paying that. Why didn't you use what? The existing taxes. That noise have been made about it and they are there. So you will not incur the public their wrath more than you introducing a new one.
Doc,
I think it's indiscretion.
Would it have been okay if the government introduced this same levy, same amount, maybe a year after they came to power, maybe 2 years later? Would it have been okay?
No,
doesn't
the issue
matter
is that
the timing.
The problem you are dealing with requires that you need money to fix that problem now. But already you had a tax system. Because remember, anytime taxes are introduced, people will obviously resist it and all that. We know that. So if you have one or there are existing taxes in the system and it has gone through all these problems and they are there, make do with that without necessarily coming with another fresh taxation. Then people will look at it that, wow, what are you talking about? You abolish this and you introduce this. Is it not robbing Peter to pay Paul? But for me, as a student of politics, I always believe that taxation is critical for the smooth administration of the state. Because without it, the capacity of the state is weakened. But you must look at these things in the light of the pushback from the public and then the convenience of the public, so as to also give you a breather as a government. If you are not able to balance these lines, these options very well, you always have a pushback. For even a good policy, you have a pushback.
Those are some interesting angles you are looking at. The energy sector levy, I mean, it's not new though, but this is an add-on that has been introduced, topping up what already exists. ESLA among others. Dr. Abedu, do we have Dr. Abedu with us?
Yes, Ben. Good morning, and good morning to you.
Okay, all right. The conversation has already, almost reached a crescendo. I'll take your brief thoughts on this add-on when it comes to the energy sector levy, and then after that, we'll get into the papers. Dr. Abedu.
Very well, thank you, and a very good morning to your viewers and your listeners. Ben, my initial thought is that, look, as usual, government is being lazy in terms of revenue mobilization.
Government is being lazy.
Management.
Are you saying government is being lazy?
As usual.
Okay.
Yes. And it's not about the NDC or the John Mahama-led government. Government that we've had in the past till now. We've been very lazy in terms of our revenue management or our fiscal management. Look, a lot of people are asking a lot of questions. Why tax at this time? You see, it's an easy approach. Go out there, just slam the tax on the people, and they'll have no option than to pay. That is a lazy man's approach to revenue mobilization. We all know the discourse around the loopholes, the gaps, the lapses when it comes to revenue mobilization in this country. A lot of people are not in the tax net, are evading taxes. We are having issues in terms of people underpaying the taxes that they are supposed to pay. Even with this very energy sector levy that we are talking about currently. Look, the government has come to acknowledge the fact that a lot of the debts or the losses are as a result of some institutions, particularly state institutions, not paying the right amount of energy that they consume. What has come of it? What have we done to give the people that confidence that, look, these have been a challenge that we've been having in the past, that the state institutions and some private sector organizations are not paying the right, or they are evading, or they are not paying the amount they're supposed to pay, or they are not even paying at all. And that is why we have these debts. Now, these are the steps that we as a government, we have taken to mobilize or to get this amount of money from them. And so we have gotten to this level. We think that you have to come in as consumers, as households, to adapt to our debt payment strategy by paying more taxes. So you see, it brings down to Dr. Riverson's argument that, look, engagement hasn't been effective, in the sense that I think one of the things that this government had it right at the initial stages of its governance is that it tried to engage a lot of people or a lot of stakeholders when it comes to a lot of its policies, talking about education and all the other sectors. What would have happened if government had used similar approach in engaging stakeholders to let them understand that, look, this is the situation that we have. These are the strategies or the interventions we are currently implementing. And these are the strategies or the issues that we feel, or the policies that we feel that when we add on to our existing strategies, we can help address the problem. I think when we are able to use that approach, for me, I believe in stakeholder engagement at any particular point in time in terms of policy. If government had engaged stakeholders effectively and extensively, you will not have somebody like Dr. Riverson, who is a key stakeholder, for example, and a lot of players under the energy sector complaining about the fact that government did not engage them effectively and that they are not so comfortable with the tax that on us. And so it's important that we get things right. We have to give people that hope. I think yesterday, when I heard this whole news, when I followed proceedings in Parliament, one of the things that I told myself that, look, Ghanaians, our days are over, our leave days are over, our honeymoon period is over. It's right time this is the time we have to come to the realization that, hey, it is government again. Hey, it is this political class again who are coming back to us, slamming taxes on us here and there. And so we need to start, appreciating that the reality is going to dawn on us very soon, and we need to really brace ourselves for the times ahead.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Abedu. We have to quickly get into the newspapers and get the thoughts. I'll start with the Daily Graphic very quickly and then see to MFR. $2.5 billion industrial hub stalls, squatters swarm site. There is CD to stabilize around between 10 and 12 Ghana cedis against the dollar. That's the ban. President assures exporters. OSP uncovers 280 million Ghana cedi NPA scandal. Government releases 987 million Ghana cedi common fund to assemblies. On the back page, Galamsey activists secure 7,700 signatures, and businessman convicted of illegal installation of inline pumps in Tamale. So I'm going to go very quickly on all the major stories, gentlemen. When I come to you, pick 1, 2, maximum 3 to respond to briefly. So a 50-year-old businessman, Ibrahim Bako Al-Hassan, has been convicted by the Tamale Circuit Court of illegally installing inline water pumps and devices to boost water flow on the Ghana Water Company Limited service pipeline in Tamale. Mr. Al-Hassan was convicted on 2 counts: illegal use of an inline pump contrary to Section 50C of the Public Utilities and Regulatory Commission's Regulations 2020, that is LI 2413, and obstruction of public officers in the line of duty. He was fined 3,600, or in default, he would serve 12 months in prison. Why this is so worrying? There's been a recent uptick in typhoid, for example, and I have suffered my own bit. These are some of the things that could lead to that. Someone introducing an inlet which could introduce some toxins into the system, and then it flows down your tap and you get something you didn't, ask for. Then petition to revoke LI 2462. Galamsey activists secure 7,700 signatures. The demand for the government to revoke the Environmental Protection, that is Mining and Forest Research Regulations 2023, that is LI 2462, continues to grow as environmental activists rally more citizens for action. Spearheaded by the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey, the activists had gathered more than 700 signatures as of April 10, 2025, in their bid to petition President Mahama to repeal the law rather than amend it. And so, well, the story says 700 here, but the heading says 7,700. Then, a massive $2.5 billion project by Centuo Building Materials. You remember them, Centuo Building Materials Complex. An initiative under the government's Big Push program has stalled due to a dispute with squatters on the site. The company has faced significant setbacks in its bid to develop the proposed site it acquired 7 years ago, which is located at Ashaiman along the Tema-Accra motorway. The complex is for the manufacture of a tall list of building materials, as well as training fabricators and companies in the built environment. Now, to wrap, the Centuo Building Materials Complex aims to leverage China's industrial and technical expertise in building materials to create a cutting-edge industrial model designed to create over 25,000 direct and indirect jobs. I don't want to do all 5 stories, so 3 stories for your reflection, and then I'll do 2 more quickly. Dr. Hassan Asante, your thoughts?
Yes, Ben, would you permit me, instead of my 3, I want to also shed my opinion on an issue so that I will limit myself to 2. Is it okay with you?
That's
Otherwise,
fine. That's fine, Doc. Please go ahead.
Right. Today, I want to look at a disturbing story that we have listing from the various networks about bleaching of the skins of children. This is a very worrying situation that you have seen parents going length to tone the skin of their children.
Right.
Very, very worrying. It's so worrying because of its health implications, and then also the cost that it has on society. I am particularly worried because in 2000, when I was a reporter, there was an incident that we covered at one of the hotels, I've forgotten, near 37, that people were even using cement to bleach. And it has created all manner of problems, including skin cancer, the rest. This country is struggling a lot to look for resources to address health challenges. So the least that we expect from the public is to create more health problems for state to deal with. And especially when you are dealing with children who have no say, they are so ignorant of everything, and then we can do this damage to them. I think we are doing our society a disservice. We need to stand up and fight this. And we can do that through advocacy, education, socialization. That be proud of your skin. Black is proud. Be proud of your skin color. It doesn't matter. All right. What you can do for your society, believe in that and do for it. The skin doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You are who you are. And remember that if you touch the skin, you have to, if you are serious about that business, you have to touch the melanin, which gives the color of the skin. And you cannot do that. I'll move on to look at the issue of people siphoning water and then creating all manner of health problems. It is a worrying situation where you see people stealing electricity, also stealing water and all that. And when I look at this thing, I said, are people patriotic enough to be in this country? Because it's so surprising. And I want to digress a little bit into, you see, the telecos giving us people opportunity to take loan, small loans, and people take them, run away. And if you send money, say, don't put it on this line, they will take the money. Why are we doing this? When there are people there to support us a little bit for us to survive, the only thing we can do is to undermine those systems. No, that we should take a second look, and we should be patriots at all times. The second issue is what? The LI 2462, which must be revoked. I support that call. It's long overdue because you see the mining sector is doing wonders.
Right.
And look at the resources that we have gained from that. $2.7 billion within 5 months. If we had done this thing twice, there's no need going to IMF to look for only $3 billion. So if we can do something better in this regard, let us do and save water bodies, save forests, and then save our society. We can't afford to lose the ecosystem.
Thank you very much. Gentlemen, I'm coming to you, but just for the sake of time, let me just add quick thoughts on the other two so that in responding, you respond to them once and for all, and we don't come back to the Daily Graphic newspaper. So, government has released 987 million Ghana cedis for the Common Fund to assemblies. I'm not reading that story, but OSP uncovering 280 million Ghana cedi NPA scandal. The OSP has revealed that it is wrapping up a probe into a massive corruption scheme at the National Petroleum Authority, which has uncovered illicit proceeds totaling over 280 million Ghana cedis. Investigations launched in November 2024 found that between 2022 and 2024, some high-ranking officials of the NPA exploited their regulatory powers over the downstream petroleum sector to extort large sums of money from OMCs, the oil marketing companies. And he says, through careful tracing and trailing of funds, we have uncovered 280,516,127 cedis and 19 pesos in proceeds of crime. You can add that to your reflections. So, Dr. Mohammed, please, we have to be very brief. Dr. Mohammed and Dr. Abeidu. I'll start with you, Dr. Mohammed.
All right, so good. The cedi, I think the president says that is the actual appreciation of the cedi is supposed to be between 10 and 12 Ghana cedis.
Yes.
Yeah, there are two main reasons. One is that, we export gold and we also export, cocoa. And we pay the cocoa in terms of cedis. So the implication is that if you have the cedi consistently appreciate, it's going to be difficult for them to raise more money to be able to pay, which is in cedi terms, in terms of in terms of the cocoa that will be purchased in Ghana. And appreciable, I think that we should allow the market to work. The market is supposed to give us the true reflection of the local currency, but not the president taking a position to say that it should be between 10 Ghana cedi and 12 Ghana cedis. Let the market work, and let the market work efficiently. Now, on the issue of the galamsey, I will agree that we need to really strike that law out. If we are able to do so, we are going to protect the water bodies, and this can go a long way to continue to shore up the currency, to continue to shore up the revenue that we generate in the mining sector, because we are not going to open up the mining sector to all kinds of people, and our environment are going to also be protected as a result of that. Now, about the center, production of production of building materials. Building materials are very important, and as we see, the build industry is increasing every now and then. So it is important that we continue to stabilize the sector.
Right.
We continue to work very hard to ensure that we open up the sector and allow more people to produce so that the cost of production can come down.
All right. Dr. Abeidu, quick thoughts?
Yes, Ben, quick on the galamsey. When it comes to sustainability issues, I'm quite passionate. So I just want to say that, look, it's long overdue. I don't think it has to get to this level where we have to mobilize for signatures for this LI to be repealed. The government, the president ought to put his step on the foot and ensure that this LI is really taken off. But beyond that, look, it's not about just about the law. What actions are we taking to ensure that this galamsey menace is really addressed? I think it's long overdue. The talking is becoming way too much. We need some impactful interventions. We need to see some realistic interventions to ensure that galamsey doesn't become an issue that we have to talk about every day. I'm sure, Ben, yourself and your team, you are even tired talking about it. because all the time it's all about galamsey, but we don't seem to see, sustainable interventions being implemented. And so I'm okay. I support this whole activists trying to mobilize signatures, but we can do better than this. It's long overdue. I want to link this issue to, of course, divert a bit to an issue that I read on your platform, My John Online, regarding thunderstorm resulting to the death of about 4 children in Sefi, I think Awasu or so. That's a very unfortunate incident, and it should tell us about how the climate change is affecting us in all our facets of life. Look, if it was those days, in the olden days where it's raining, children can go on the streets or can go out in the rain and play, it's no more like that. Things are changing, the climate is changing, and we are having a lot of devastating impact or risk associated with the changing climate. And so we all have to be very careful, especially when the rains are going to start very soon, so that we don't experience any kind of unfortunate incident which will come along with heavy rainstorms and the thunderstorms that will come along with it. The third issue I want to address briefly is the common fund. Look, it's a good thing, and this is the time we need to really take our decentralization policy serious. Development is all at the local level. You and I, we can trace our identity at the local level. And so if the local authorities are not empowered, they are not resourced for them to address the problems of the people, they are living closer to the people. They understand the issues and the problems of the people better. And so if we don't resource them, then what are we doing? Which people are we seeking their interest? Which people are we developing? And so I'm very happy that the fund is going down to the local assemblies. It is my prayer that the authorities also at the district assemblies prudently utilize these resources very effectively for the development of the people.
Well, thank you, Doc. Well, let's continue with the Ghanaian publisher this morning, and it's reporting Gold Board's historic feat. Artisanal small-scale mining gold exports hits $4 billion in front of the Ghanaian publisher this morning, with a photo of Sami Gyamfi, obviously, right by that report. And also, former NPP General Secretary, Engineer Kwabena Japan, says that OSP is waste of public funds. We'll get into that a bit later as well. Or maybe, Benjamin, let me just bring that story so that we can start with Dr. Sasanti on that. So the former General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Kwabena Japan, has launched a blistering attack on the Office of the Special Prosecutor, questioning its relevance, performance, and legal posture in the ongoing investigation involving former Finance Minister, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta. Addressing a group of journalists in Accra, Mr. Japan expressed dismay at what he described as media spectacle being orchestrated by the special prosecutor rather than lawful prosecution. I'm certain we know that story, and so I'll just add the Gold Board's historic feat which the Ghanaian publisher is reporting this morning. It says that Chief Executive of the Ghana Gold Board, Sami Gyamfi, has disclosed that the gold export from the artisanal small-scale mining sector reached an unprecedented $4 billion between February and May 2025. He said it marks a historic first for the nation. Dr. Sasanti, so these two, which one of them has your attention? I can just guess. Would it be the Gold Board?
There are two. I want gold, more gold, and I still want also corruption to be fought head on.
Please
I'll start with the Gold Board. I am not surprised that we are getting results like this, because I've had opportunity to talk to the head of mining engineering at the School of Mines, and he gave a very interesting revelation that within 2024, the first quarter, Ghana was able to rake in over $2 billion. Then that's where I started gaining interest in that. So I believe that what the board is doing, they should continue to do it well, and the state must give every support to it, but make sure that they reduce or fight any semblance of corruption in there, and make sure that they sanitize also the place for effective work to be done, taking into consideration our environment and everything associated with that. Much as we want revenue from that area, we want to also keep the ecosystem tight. I will also come to OSP and the attack by Mr. Japan. Yeah, he has his own opinion on that. But for me, I see the institution as a very important institution, because if you look at this country, we lose a lot of resources through corruption. So if you have institutions such as this, and it's working to fight the canker head on, I support it. But we are finding difficulties. You can also understand, Mr. Japan, because up to now, we have not seen any successful single word prosecution that has come to its logical conclusion. So you can also understand him from where he's coming from. But I believe that we must find out what's the problem and see how best we can address it. But for me, this institution is one of the surest means. If we allow it to work the way it ought to, it will be able to fight corruption for us. We need such institutions, and then we need to strengthen them to be able to perform the functions that are expected of them.
Well, there's actually one, just to clarify, there is one such situation where indeed, I think there have even been some recoveries as far as the OSP is concerned. But if you look at the law too, there are certain impediments that they face, including what Martin Amidu faced and what Kisi Ajabe is facing. But that's a conversation for another day. MFA.
Yeah, but fair enough. But I am for the institution. If
Right.
there's anything wrong with it,
Right.
let us all support the institution to exist and perform the duty. And that is all.
Right. Dr. Mohammed, you can take a bite on this one. And whilst you're at it, especially with the OSP, were there concerns that because his statutory mandate is to update the public every day on cases or on progress of certain cases that they have taken up, there's concerns about how much he should really provide the public without maybe violating certain fundamental rights of persons that they're investigating? Really, how much measurement can we put on how much he tells the public whilst you're addressing the OSP?
Well, for the public, if you are addressing the public, it is not that you have to divulge all information out there. You can pick careful information. You can carefully select the information that will not even undermine the people behind the case. So I think, in my candid opinion, that you just have to streamline your issues, streamline your cases, and bring out information that is more relevant to the public, so that both the one you are investigating and the general public will benefit at the end of the day.
Okay, because you can still go on with the concern about he being a waste of public fund.
Well, I will not say it's a waste of public fund. After all, he's providing the service. This particular OSP came up long ago. That's way back in 2020, I think 2018 or 2019, when it was instituted. Up to now, how many cases have they been able to successfully handle? And what has been the impact of it to the state? I mean, Ben has just said that they have done some recoveries. These recoveries that they have done goes a long way to support the state. So I still think that they need a lot of support. They need, if we have to even analyze and see whether there are loopholes in the law and see how amendment the law can undergo again, so that collectively we can support the system and make it more better. I think that as a point in time, they'll be able to be on their feet and they can do better. Now, on the issue of the Go Board, they are doing wonders, and I think the artisanal and small-scale mining sector is very important. And as we are now getting them grounded, we are seeing a proper resource coming out of it. They used to sell, but we don't know the quantum of amount of dollars that they were bringing. But right now we have a particular body in place to coordinate their activities. We now know that at the end of the day, this is the amount of money we are estimating to get from that sector. And that is going to be an add-on to the contribution to our national GDP. Because initially, what was going on, you are not aware. So it was going to be very difficult to even compute it in the national GDP. You can only describe that as discrepancies and add it on. So right now we have it. We know that within 4 months, we have had about $4 billion, which means that if it's going to continue, in the next 4 months again, you have another $4 billion. So in a year, you can make about $12 billion out of it, which is a very good add-on to the national economy. And we can also tax them properly. If you put them into small scales, then we know that this unit are this, They form a unit, and you can tax them properly and increase your income tax as a result of that.
Thank you, Doc. Dr. Abedu, you take the last bite, Benjamin. It will be for him, right? Or you have more to...
Yes, let's go to Dr. Abedu.
Oh, we've lost Dr. Abedu. Oh, no. Right then.
Let me just take this one. It's Reverend Lati sent this. He says, reflection. Ayalulu is the name of a town in Ghana. However, the philosophical meaning of Ayalulu is applicable for the prosecution of politicians. Political appointees must not take Iyoko and the OSP for granted. They bite. That's why I say Ayalulu. And just on the back of the fact that we've been talking about the OSP, I'll just do some more headlines and it's a wrap. We've done the story by Kwabena Ejapong. I cannot say that I agree with him to a large extent. No, I can't say that. But like has been mentioned, there are different opinions. Small-scale mining tops Ghana's gold exports. We've done that story. Afenyomarkin petitions Speaker over MP's misconduct. What exactly is the issue there? In what is expected to generate some heat in Parliament in the coming days, the Minority Leader, Afenyomarkin, has called for a probe into the conduct of Who West MP Emmanuel Kwesi Bejra. Afenyomarkin, in a memorandum dated June the 2nd, addressed to the Speaker, cited what he described as a troubling incident that occurred on March 28 during deliberations on the Gold Board bill. According to him, Mr. and he calls him, unilaterally and inappropriately switched off the microphone of Minority Chief Whip, Mr. Frank Anodompre, while he was addressing the chair. And that's the issue there. Anodompre, not part of Edwajiri chieftaincy dispute. That's according to Insawam MPP. That's the custodian newspaper. The Accra Times, Atoforsin, briefs Parliament as John Mahama gives MMDA's oxygen to spur local development. Health Minister vows to address industrial action. Study hard for good results, Wilsa South DCE to Fumbisi Senior High students. Beware of tobacco and nicotine, North Dying MP decries. And Ghana committed to fighting corruption, Bagman tells AU review mission team. We're going to take very brief thoughts from you, gentlemen, and that's a wrap. Dr. Asante, we'll start with you.
It is heartwarming to hear from the President and Mr. Speaker that Ghana is committed to fighting corruption head-on. We want to hear that. But we should go beyond this and then make sure that we fight corruption head-on. Strengthen institutions, anti-corruption institutions, and also eliminate all the obstacles that militate against the fight against corruption. Then we'll be home and dry. But of course, we as a society must also be vigilant and make sure that we have a good deal. The issue about industrial action that the minister said he wants to address within the health sector is a good one. We have had this thing almost every year, and that you see workers, one group going on strike and another one following. What is it that the sector is not doing right? They have to engage the stakeholders, reflect on these things, so that any decision that you take involving stakeholders, they become part and parcel of it. They share their thoughts, and at the end of the day, they own that decision when it comes to an attack. And that is why stakeholder engagement is critical. If they do this, I am sure they'll be able to find common ground to addressing this, because there are a lot of challenges within the labor industry. But we believe that for us to ensure productivity and then also ensure smooth running of the state, we need harmony. And this will come if we are able to do what I'm saying.
All right, Dr. Mohammed.
I have to leave you for my lectures. And
in fact, we're sewing it up here, so we're grateful for your time, Dr. Kwame Asante, and all the best in your lecture. Let's do Dr. Mohammed, final thoughts on these, and it's a wrap.
Okay, well, fighting corruption is very important. The police, the court system, the OSP, the UCO, and all these agencies are supposed to work hand in hand to ensure that we fight corruption head on. But the individual who is involved in the corruption, both the one bribing and the one receiving the bribe, they must also know that they are causing harm to the state. Now, on the issue of industrial action is very important. And people usually have to fight for their right. And I think, in my candid opinion, that we should always give people the fair hearing anytime they have an issue regarding their state of operations or their state of service or their state of, condition of service. Let's give them the hearing. And if we are able to do that, we are going a long way to harmonize between the service provider and the one receiving the service. Now, the final issue I want to touch on is on the NPRA. The NPA 280 million Ghana cedis loss. What do you call it? Recovery. I don't know whether indeed it was the NPA who is actually taking a bribe from the oil marketing company to be able to carry out their functions or not. And I think that this issue should be properly investigated between the NPA and that of the oil marketing company. Why is that actually happening? This is something that we really need to know. Is it that the oil marketing company are bribing to get their way out, or is it that the NPA is requiring to take certain money because they do not meet certain conditionalities, or what is it?
Right.
So we need to investigate this matter to the letter.
All right. Dr. Mohammed, we are grateful for your time. Dr. Abedu, you have the final say. We lost you briefly. Make it brief. Hello, Dr. Abedu. All right, so we don't have Dr. Abedu. This comes in from one of our team members. Happy birthday, Fred Novo. On this special day, we are joining you to celebrate you, a distinguished member of the Customs Technical Training Department at the GRA head office. May this new year bless you with continued good health, wisdom, and strength. Happy birthday, Fred Novo. And those who joined us for the conversation this morning, MFR?
Of course. Thank you so much, Dr. Kwame Asante, who's already headed for lectures this morning. He's head Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana, and also Dr. Jabril Mohammed, senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, and as well Dr. Pakwesi Eduafol Abedu, development analyst. And earlier, we spoke to Dr. Riverson Opon. He is the boss at OMC, who said that they're having an emergency board meeting today. I'm certain that by midday today, we'll hear the fallout of all of that. But remember, the AM show, it's sponsored by Waylead Properties. And are you thinking of a rewarding investment you can engage in? Waylead Company Limited is your preferred choice for such investments. Waylead Company Limited is a real estate company with several developments to its credit in Accra. Invest in a new development, Willow Lane, where elegance will meet tranquility in the heart of Accra. We provide quality housing at an affordable cost and also with a flexible payment option. At Waylead Properties, we provide you 24-hour security, reliable power supply, and other social amenities that make your stay a memorable one. Of course, you want to give them a call, 0240-111-119 or 0504-499-999. You can also visit Waylead on their website, www.waylead.org. All right, Benjamin, stay with us. The AM show will be back.
Today, we are standing with the Ghanaian people. Adongo was talking about patriotism. Mr. Speaker, whilst Dr. Atuforsen was speaking, I saw members on their side applauding Dr. Atuforsen. Mr. Speaker, I am excited this particular debate is being beamed live for everybody to see. Every Ghanaian has seen that the majority is jubilating over an increment of taxes. Yes. Mr. Speaker, in this house, the key people who argued, excuse me, the key people who argued in this house, Dr. Atuforsen, my very good brother John Jinapo, and Mr. Adongo, the same people who were speaking against taxes are today the same people laying papers, introducing statements, and making arguments for new taxes. Mr. Speaker, let me put the issues in perspective. Thank you. In 2024, E-levy alone, E-levy, which they oppose vehemently, raked in close to about 2 billion Ghana cedis, Mr. Speaker. In 2024, 2 billion. Today, Dr. Ato Forson presented to us a fiscal impact analysis. And Mr. Speaker, Dr. Ato Forson intends to rake in 5.7 billion Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, last year, 5.3 billion liters of fuel was sold. We anticipate that there will be an increment of about 20%, which will lead us to about 8.5 billion. Mr. Speaker, they intend to impose 1 Ghana cedis on each liter. On each liter. On each liter. That is what we are being told in this house. Mr. Speaker, they intend to impose 1 cedis on each liter. On each liter. A gallon is about 4 cedis 50 pesos. Mr. Speaker, your guess is as good as mine. Mr. Speaker, let me just put this thing in perspective. Just this year, during the budget, Dr. Ato Forson presented this energy sector levy. Mr. Speaker, petrol was selling at 95 pesos. Per this new bill, Mr. Speaker, there is going to be an increment of 105%. Diesel is going to go up by 103%. Naphtha is going to go up by 105%. Mr. Speaker, marine fuel is going to go up by 400%. Mr. Speaker, the shocking part is that marine gas. Nothing can stop me from talking about the good news. I am wondering how Kastian will explain this to his constituents. When they buy 1 gallon of fuel to go to the farm, I am wondering how Kastian will explain to his constituents. Mr. Speaker, just last month, PURC increased electricity by 14.7%. Water was increased by 4.02%. Mr. Speaker, here we are again. Less than 1 month, they are back here to increase the taxes again. Mr. Speaker, is that what they promised the people of Ghana? Is that what they promised the people of Ghana? Is this the research they are talking about? Is this the research His Excellency John Dramani Mahama promised the people of Ghana? You are taking up E-levy. Now you are bringing D-levy, E-levy Pro Max. E-levy Pro Max. That is what you are introducing to the House. But Mr. Speaker, let me say again that we, the minority, the mighty minority, we stand with the Ghanaian people, and we are going to reject this bill in all its form. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
and accordingly, I rule that the ayes have it. The Honorable Deputy Whip called for a head count, and the procedure for the head count is stated in Standing Order 152. Let me read. The Speaker shall take a vote.
Welcome back to the conversation, and we are digging right in as the minority staged that walkout. But, well, the energy sector levy bill was passed anyway. So that means when MFR goes to the fuel pump in just a bit, and I do, we're going to pay an extra 1 Ghana cedi on a litre of fuel. While we were having the news review, I saw someone send in a comment and say, you know, on the back of the gains we've made as well from the fuel pricing from 17, 16, it hit 20 something for diesel at a point. We shouldn't be complaining. But, you know, Oliver Twist, we always want more. Let's usher in Isaac Kofi J. He's our in-house, I call him our in-house government statistician.
Absolutely. The guy has all the numbers.
What can you tell us about this levy and what it means for us?
Well, if you are waking up and you possibly didn't hear what happened yesterday, there is a new levy in town. It's not relatively new, but I mean, that, you know, tax handle has been revised. And in terms of the quantum of, you know, levies you pay, has actually gone up by 1 Ghana cedis. And that's what we are going to analyze for you. And it's going to be on the ex-pump price of fuel, or the diesel, the petrol you buy at the pumps. That's where this new tax is going to settle. Already, I mean, Ghanaians are complaining that, look, we are not at fair value yet, and so we don't see the reason why a revision in terms of upward revision should come around this time. Now, the key question is, many have said that, look, the finance minister, when he was reading the 2025 budget, didn't indicate this in the 2025 budget, but maybe you didn't take notice. That was in the budget where the finance minister requested or told the Speaker of Parliament that he will be submitting 10, you know, acts for review, and the Energy Sector Levy Act 2015 was part of those 10 levies that he, or 10 tax handles that he sought, you know, reviews to. And maybe you didn't know that the entire ESLA package, what we call ESLA, is what we are talking about. And ESLA, we know, is the baby of former Finance Minister Seth Terkper, and he actually trained, you know, his deputy, Dr. Atufos, who is now the current Finance Minister. And he is saying that, look, let's go back, or let's revisit ESLA. And under ESLA, we should know that currently, when it was introduced, there were about 4 taxes under ESLA. Now we are talking about 6 taxes under, you know, the new ESLA that we have. And one of them is going to be revised. That is the Energy Sector, you know, Debt Recovery Levy. That is what we are going to analyze. And look, if you buy fuel today, every liter of fuel you buy, whether petrol or diesel, you pay 10 taxes, as you can see on the smartwatch. 10 different taxes and levies on every fuel that you buy. Many have said that the tax handles alone is about 40% of the price that we pay. And if the price continues to drop, that means that the component of tax handle, in terms of the percentage terms, will actually increase. Now, if you look at these 10 taxes that we are talking about and levies, it means that every liter that you buy, on the average, you pay around 3 cedis, 26 pesos as taxes. And look, this law has been passed, which means that instead of 3 cedis, 26 pesos, you're going to pay somewhere around 4 cedis, 26 pesos. And many have said that, why should it be on a liter, but not on the gallon? I mean, if you used to buy 40 liters, it means that every 40 liter that you buy, you pay about 40 Ghana cedis as taxes. Now, I mean, this is the breakdown. Just try and understand this, because it's law now. The GRA will start implementing, MPA will start implementing it very soon. This is where it's going to be. There is one that we were definitely not expecting the government to actually put this tax on, and that's LPG. LPG will stay the same, but fuel, in terms of petrol and diesel, will move. Petrol, for instance, will move from that tax handle 95 pesos to 1 cedi 95 pesos. Diesel will also move from 93 pesos to 1 cedi 93 pesos. And this is a tax handle that we are actually talking about. And so if you really want to know how much you'll be paying, that's what we've summarized for you on the smart wall. What will not be affected will be LPG, but if you buy diesel or petrol, you should expect. Now, I mean, the finance minister spoke, gave reasons why they are actually calling for this review, have actually initiated this review, or this law has been passed. And this is because they've been looking at this data and saying that, look, if you go on the international market, crude prices are actually falling, where we've moved from somewhere around, some time ago it was around $100 per barrel. Now we've moved to about $64, $61 or $65 per barrel. And that is not at fair value yet. We are far away from the normal hundreds we used to pay. And so they expect fuel prices or crude prices to come down. And they're definitely saying that, look, this windfall that we are all experiencing, give us 1 cedi out of that. We're trying to look at Goil's, prices, and this is how Goil's prices have actually fared since February 2024 to date. And we know there's a revision where it's between 11 cedis, 77 pesos, and maybe 12 cedis, 50 pesos. But what we are trying to tell you is that fuel prices have been very high before, but now the government is saying that because of the appreciation of the cedi, we are seeing fuel prices going down. And so if you used to buy from Goil, from beginning of the year, you've saved about 2 cedis, 47 pesos. And that's government is saying that the gains we've already had, we are taking 1 cedi out of it. We are expecting that the prices should go down significantly from the 12 cedis or below 11 cedis, maybe in the next pricing window. But the key question is, why do you impose a levy when the data shows that we are not at fair value yet? Look, if you look at this chart, what you will see is that from 2022 to 2024, there was actually an outlier in terms of the rate at which fuel prices were going up in the country. That's when we had the global crisis, and Ghana itself had its economic crisis in 2022, 2023, called for an IMF program and all of that. You can see how fuel prices actually move. This is from the Energy Commission, and this data shows you that we are currently not at fair value. When we say fair value, what do we mean? If you look at this chart, we should be expecting fuel prices to be around 8 cedis, 50 pesos. So we are not around 8 cedis, 50 pesos now. So why are we still around 12 cedis and government wants to impose a new tax? That is a question people are asking. That if you look at this chart, fair value should be around 8 cedis, 50 pesos. We are not there yet. So why don't you wait for us to get to single digits? Let's say 8 cedis or 8 cedis, 50 pesos before you start talking about new taxes. You've imposed new taxes, but what if we don't get to fair value? What are you going to do to the consumer? Are you going to take that tax from the price builder? And that's one of the questions that people are asking. But, I mean, there was another reason given by the finance minister, and he's been explaining that it's not because of the legacy debt, but it's important to point out that this is how much we are owing as energy sector debt. $3.1 billion US. Very, very huge. And just about 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, the president indicated that energy sector debt was around 2.5 billion. Now the finance minister has given an update saying that 3.1 billion. So within a very short period of time, and it's even as of March 2025, it could be more. And the government has been complaining about how much it pays as shortfalls to support the energy sector. In 2024 alone, shortfalls was around $1.46 billion that government had to pay, around 26 or 30 billion Ghana cedis, so that we all get lights. I mean, that is where government doesn't want to go. It's saying that if you look at the current generation capacity of the country, we've moved from hydro. Now about 70% of our generation mix comes from thermal, which means that every year we need to look for money to buy fuel. And if you look at the Energy Commission's report in terms of the energy sector outlook, the average has been around $1.2 billion to buy fuel or to power the plant. And that's where the finance minister is saying that, look, the government cannot be paying for that fuel that we use to power the thermal plant. So why don't we, have a levy that will cater for that? But the question is, these levies will be in cedis. So if the dollar has really fallen to the cedi, then people are asking, then it means that, ECG's cost is going to reduce because ECG pays IPPs and fuel suppliers about $50 million every month. That $50 million, its value in cedi has been reduced. So why do we need another tax if the value or the cost that ECG is paying to IPPs in terms of fuel has reduced? Why don't we start talking about consolidation right now and not taxes? And we are looking at ESLA. We made mention of ESLA at the beginning of the presentation that this new taxes, this new levy that we are talking about is not a new levy. The tax, the ESLA tax has about 6 different tax handles under it, and the energy sector debt recovery levy is one of them. Since 2017, we've been trying to check how much has government actually collected from ESLA, which is supposed to save us from some of these energy sector crisis at this point that we are in. ESLA was introduced somewhere 2015, 2016. And if you do the math from 2017 to 2024, in fact, we've collected about 29.2 billion Ghana cedis as ESLA, inflows. So why have we not been able to solve our energy sector crisis with the ESLA inflows? The answer is in the next slide. This is because if you look at the energy sector recovery, levy, the energy sector debt recovery levy, which has now been, modified a bit, this is how much we get from that side. It's about, on average, $2.5 billion every year. And this year, we are targeting $3.1 billion at the end of 2025. Then you say that if this is the inflow, compared to how much we are paying as shortfalls, then definitely this cannot close the gap that we are looking for. So possibly the reason why government has decided to revise the levy by 1 cedi. Because if you look at this chart, although inflows have been coming in, and since 2017, we've been able to rake in some 29 billion Ghana cedis, that alone cannot afford a year's shortfall because we are going or actually entering into paying shortfalls around $36 billion every year. And the World Bank has said that, look, if we continue to do business as usual in our energy sector, shortfalls could hit $8 billion by 2025, 2026. So maybe the government has looked at all this data and is saying that, then why don't we introduce or why don't we vary the levy a bit so that, although we are collecting ESLA and we are collecting the energy sector debt recovery levy, why don't we vary it so that the inflows could be more to actually close the shortfalls? Because if you do the math, the shortfalls is actually averaging around 30 billion Ghana cedis every year. And there's money that governments would have to cough up almost every year to keep our lights on. But we've been collecting so many energy levies. But the question is, where is the money? Why have we not been able to solve the energy sector crisis? And the answer is simple. It's because of the fluctuations we've seen in the forex market. So we may be collecting more, but when the cedi misbehave, ECG's cost would have to increase. So another question, if the cedi is appreciating and ECG cost is expected to come down, and in terms of how much we pay to IPPs and fuel suppliers, $50 million almost every month, that money in cedis has been reduced. So why do we need another levy? But it's not a new levy. It's been there. It's under the ESLA. And if you didn't see it in the budget, know that it was actually in the budget. The finance minister requested that Parliament allows him to make a revision to 10 acts. And the ESLA, or the Energy Sector Levy Act, was one of them.
Kofi, thank you for walking us through that. We'll come back to you in a bit. Let's just quickly acknowledge our guests as well. Duncan Amwa is Executive Director of COPEC. He joins the conversation. Duncan, good morning.
Good morning, my brother. Good morning to your viewers and your panel.
It's been a while. Let me also bring in Kojo Poku, Energy Analyst. Kojo, good morning. Kojo Poku, are you there? Please unmute for me.
Yes, I'm here, Ben. How are you?
I am well. I hope you are too.
Well, I'm very well, just that I'm very disappointed a little. So I hope I can address that when I have the time to address the disappointment.
All right, I'll come to you in a bit. Duncan, what are your quick reflections on this add-on? It is not new, technically. We have the ESLA that we've been dealing with, and it was in the budget, as has been mentioned. But are you disappointed with the shape it has taken, 1 cedi per litre, adding on to what we already have?
If you take the politically initiated or the politically biased, every Ghanaian would be shocked, would be disappointed by this, especially if you have a government that has worked so hard within the past few months to bring down, the effects, volatilities and, the boiling or the bullish bit. And then the same government having worked to bring down fuel prices goes back, say, I'm adding on to it. It is simply just been a 4 kind of thing. But for me, it is not even just the emotion bit of that is worrying. It is also the fact that time and time again, data has shown that being inefficient and expecting someone to always pay for it does not yield any solution at all. If you recall, in 2016, December 1st, we went to Parliament first for energy sector levy. That for us at the time was clear up the energy sector debt, what we use to term as legacy debt.
Duncan, just move a little for me.
$2.2 billion debt.
Duncan, can you hear me, please?
Parliament even asked for ESLA to be introduced on fuel altogether, for which we have done about 26 billion. As an year, has not been able to clear the debt. The debt clearly is accumulating at a faster rate, and we cannot all pretend that all is well within the power space, particularly coming on the back of reports of 82 different bank accounts that ECJ had to operate or was operating. How efficiently can one even monitor 10 different accounts? Talk more, 82. You would hit issues of containers in 1,000 boxes, and we cannot even have the money to pay for duty to clear them, for which they end up staying at the port for months, for years. Clearly, the inefficiencies, the mismanagement, the corruption, the bad boardroom practices that has, contributed to where we are today is not being blamed. Rather, the trotro driver, the taxi driver, the ordinary Ghanaian is being asked to go and pay more. And what pains me the most, as a Ghanaian, every 2 weeks, if I don't consume 1,000 Ghana cedis of my money will go into power purchase. Yet, I am told that that is not enough at all, and that there's a debt overhang. We are accumulating debt. So when I go to the pumps to buy fuel, I should be paying now almost 2 Ghana cedis every litre to pay for people's inefficiencies, mismanagement, and corrupt tendencies. No single individual has been surcharged. Nobody has been put forward to turn whatever loot that could have been done or made. Nobody is asked any question. Rather, the ordinary person out there, the trotro driver out there, the Okada guy out there, is being told to pay 2 Ghana cedis now because we have an inefficient power sector that is crippling all of us, and we would all have to, bring the shoulders to the wheel. I think that we are simply applying the wrong medicine to the sickness that we should probably properly diagnose. We cannot continue on this trajectory. If the ESLA couldn't defray anything over 10 years, the numbers your anchorman crunched would simply tell you that this cannot defray what we are accumulating daily, weekly, or monthly. So we still back to the same square. Something ought to give, and I think that the inefficiencies would need to deal with them rather than adding more fuel to the fire and expecting that fire would subside. We'll continue to have these kinds of problems if we are not looking at solving the bleeding, but simply just adding more money to the system, hoping that we'll be able to clear our debt. It might not happen anytime soon.
MFR will be coming in shortly, but let me just add this. When you look at the memorandum to the bill, it talks about, you've mentioned inefficiencies. It talks about support of payment of energy sector shortfalls, which we know of. We have a $3.1 billion debt overhang, reduce energy sector legacy debts, and stabilize power. Then it talks about the fact that the challenges in the sector are enormous, emanating from debt shortfalls, insufficient gas supply, and inefficiencies, and also what is owed power producers, state-owned enterprises, and fuel suppliers. We wouldn't want something like this to be slapped on. But the justifications that have been given, the CD has appreciated by quite a bit. Inflation is slightly lower. Fuel prices have fallen. The question then is there any way of justifying, in any way, this add-on of 1 Ghana cedi, especially as it was in the budget? Is there any way of defending it?
I'll be surprised of any further attempts to rationalize this 1 Ghana cedi or 100 Ghana pesos that we are slapping. I have heard, people defending, saying that, we've worked to bring down price. If there's a challenge, need to add things, you should allow. Fair point. What is that something? Okay, if you add 1 Ghana cedi to 460 million liters a month consumption, what you are getting is 460 million Ghana dollar equivalent 46 million Ghana dollars, right? So if you do the entire, you are doing around 550 million US, right? At over 6, you would need over 6 years, right, of this constant return without $1 further added to your debt to be able to clear whatever debt that you probably have on your day at 3 points. You would need to charge the Ghanaians for 6 good years at the 100 Ghana or 1 Ghana extra or cedis virtually fairly for 6. And granted that you are not adding single dollar further. So, my brother, in the sense of that look, we are ring-fencing debt, whatever bad management practices, whatever power losses that have caged, whatever procurement breaches that have been caged, all the bad things that affected the sector, put, a hold for them. We are not going to generate $1 extra, debt overhang. Even at that, we are looking at 6 years. So if that argument or justification holds, maybe we should have done 2 Ghana or 3 Ghana, though we can 1 or 3 years, and be able to let it, if that is what we wanted. But the problem is, we are having all 4 steps. The faster instance,
Duncan Amwa, your connection is slightly challenging. So just hold for me, hold for us, reposition yourself. We'll bring in Kojo Poku and we'll take it from the MFR.
Well, thank you, Benjamin. So let's go to Kojo Poku. You already said that you're disappointed. I'm quite curious, but what is it exactly you're disappointed? Maybe we'll start from that point.
Yes, please. Thank you. And I would like you to give me the time to basically talk about that. Your gentleman in the studio who did the numbers is the one I'm disappointed in. You know, he's a young man that I know means well, but I think he should spend time with some of us in the energy sector to understand the space better. Let me correct a few things that he got wrong. The ESLA, when it was first introduced, had two components, the downstream debt and the power sector debt. People keep saying that the ESLA over time, nobody knows where the money has gone. When the ESLA was first introduced, it has cleared all the downstream debt. There was before BDC forest losses, which Bank of Ghana was worried. And the ESLA has cleared that. So today, as we speak, the energy sector debt does not include any downstream debt. It's only the power sector debt that is left. So at least let's correct those things. It's never true that all the 3.9 billion or the $29 billion collected, 29 billion Ghana cedis collected, nobody knows where that money has gone.
I'm certain that was not particularly his words.
I never said that we cannot find the money.
My brother,
could you please let him explain himself and then you can come in.
29 billion cedis collected, we don't know where that money has gone.
Okay, at least he's here. Let's have him.
Asking if we had ESLA, and ESLA is supposed to clear our energy sector debt and save us from some of these crises, where has the money gone in terms of helping us?
So then I'm telling you, so then let me explain to you where the money has gone.
Yes, so you can come in with your explanation, but if you put across, Kojo, let me speak. If you put across that what I put out there was wrong, I said from 2017 to 2024, we had inflows from ESLA around $29 billion. This is supposed to solve our energy sector crisis. So if ESLA has indeed solved, let me land. If ESLA has indeed solved our energy sector crisis, why do we need one, cedi per liter again to solve another crisis? And remember that the debt, remember that the debt you are talking about is legacy debt. It's not debt from yesterday. It's legacy debt, Kojo. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say.
We heard, my brother, we heard what you said. I am correcting something you said. I'm telling you that.
I don't think that you're correcting anything.
Kofi, hold for me.
Kofi, you did not make the point that the 29 billion, some has paid the downstream debt. You did not make that point. So I am educated that if you ask the question that the 29 billion that has been collected from 2017 till now, where has that money gone? I'm educated that the 29 billion that has been collected, a chunk of that money has been used to pay the downstream debt that existed.
That can be an add-on, not a correction. That can be an add-on, not a correction.
Okay, so
you have to get it right.
Move on. I have made my point.
Exactly. You have to move on.
The second point that you made that need corrected is that there are only 8 taxes on the build-up, not 10. There are only 8 taxes on the build-up, not 10. Okay? Now, the other point that I want to say is that if you are looking at the energy sector, this one cedi that is coming on is not to solve any doomsday in the energy sector. It is as a result of the government shaving 30% of its expense. So all these things that we keep talking about, oh, the dollar has gone down, the dollar has gone down. Kojo Poku has been very consistent that with the dollar going down and the cedi appreciating, government cannot fund its budget. And it's with the certificate of emergency the government introduced yesterday to try and raise 1 billion. And my brother Duncan, the government is not collecting 1 cedi. The government is collecting 2 cedis. As per the budget, they introduced 95 pesos. With this new addition, it is 1.95 on petrol, 1.93 on diesel. So the total collection in a year is 1 billion Ghana cedis, $1 billion that the government is collecting per year. You want Ghanaians to pay an extra 1 billion Ghana cedis every year through petroleum taxes. Already we are paying electricity. There should be some problem in the Ministry of Finance. Because when the minister read his budget, he clearly knew what his projections were. He read a budget using 15.4. Now he has lost 30% of his revenue and he needed money. So this certificate of urgency yesterday has got nothing to do with the energy sector. It was just government taxing the Ghanaians to basically run its budget. So let's not anybody try to make this thing an energy sector conversation.
I have a quick question for you, Kojo. You say it is government trying to run its budget. The energy sector debt that we have, is it part of our economic baggage? Is it part of our budget? Is it part of... Kojo, let me land. When someone is asking a question, let the person land, and then you can come through with your response. What is being done? All these loopholes that must be plugged, whether or not it's going to solve the situation, because as the permutation stands, we'll not clear that debt this year or the next year. But is it, by extension, to resolve our economic challenges, part of which the energy sector debt is a part of, or not?
Okay, so there's two things that needs to happen. One, the government needs to come out and tell us that he has ring-fenced that debt from the ECG. So then the energy sector in the ECG, see, today as we speak, we keep talking about the energy sector indebtedness in the energy sector. What Honorable Forson came to do in Parliament was to get GRA to collect money. That goes to Consolidated Fund. That goes to Ministry of Finance. The person who pays the energy sector indebtedness is ECG. So when the IPPs are owed, the person that has contract with the IPPs is ECG. So what the government should tell us today is that he is ring-fencing all the energy sector indebtedness to MOF, Ministry of Finance. So then we know that there is no indebtedness in the energy sector. So that conversation goes away. Unless somebody comes and tells us that that money is not for the energy sector, it is for taxes to run the government. Because today, if the Honorable Jenapo wants money to buy fuel, he has to go to Ministry of Finance and apply to the Ministry of Finance for money. If we are saying that this 1 cedi, which is now being collected, is to clear the energy sector indebtedness, then it will be treated like the way we did the price stabilization recovery levy. It will be put in a specified fund and be accountable to Parliament how that money is disbursed. Until we do that, it is not for the energy sector. When money goes into Consolidated Fund, it's for the Ministry of Finance to spend it as he wish. So if we want to solve the energy sector indebted, now another point that we should make, they keep saying that the energy sector indebtedness is 3.1 billion as at March. You have been collecting 95 pesos a litre since you read the budget. Where has that money gone? What have we reduced out of the money that exists? At this rate, if you are going to collect 2 cedis on every litre, as it is now in the law, as passed by Parliament yesterday, in every year, you will rake in $1 billion. In 2 years, you will have cleared all the debt in the energy sector. Now, Ghanaians have to stop paying that high electricity prices because the energy sector indebtedness is no more, because we are paying something on the electricity prices, which is the losses that we have in the energy sector on the electricity prices that we are paying. So the issue I want Ghanaians to understand is that that exercise yesterday in Parliament was not for the energy sector, because from the majority leader, he said that we are introducing one cedi on a litre to stop doom so. Ben, you and I agree, and you've said this several times, that there's no doom so. So if there's no doom so, why does somebody need 1 cedi to square and solve something that doesn't exist? Honorable John Jinapo has told us several times through his PRO that there's no doom so. Why do we need 1 cedi to solve something that doesn't exist?
Right, Kojo, please hang in there. We'll come back for some clarity on some of the things that you have said. And a little later, we'll also go on the phone and engage Dr. Kwabena Donkor, former energy minister. Right now, though, let's crunch the numbers a lot more and even pull out some data. Kofi is still here. Kofi.
Yes. Kojo sought to do some sort of corrections. And this is the data that we have from the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies. And it talks about price outlook June 1st, effective June 1st, 2025. And I want us to put that on the screens, and I want Kojo to count the number of taxes he sees there. Is it 8 or 10, Kojo?
And I was going to ask him. I was going to ask him to enumerate on the 8.
Okay, let me read them out to you. There are 8 taxes. They are energy sector shortfall and debt repayment levy, road fund levy,
2,
energy fund levy,
3,
special petroleum tax,
4,
primary distribution margin,
5,
bust margin,
6,
fuel margin,
7,
fuel marking margin, then UPPF. Anything else is not on there.
It's not what?
It's 8. Those that I have read out to you, I've read 8 margins up to you as per the build-up of the prices we are paying today. I'm going to repeat them. Energy sector shortfall and debt repayment levy, road fund levy.
No, the question is which ones are you taking out of this 10 you see on the screen?
My brother, I am telling you that what I am reading out to you.
No, it's not about what you are reading out to me. I have showed you a data that shows 10 taxes. I am asking you which 2 are you taking out so we know which one you think are not taxes or levies. But there are 10 on the screen. How many can you count?
Boss, my brother, please listen to me. I am giving you an official position. As from the MPA build-up of what we are paying today, I am telling you what is in there. If you have something on that board that I do not read out, it does not exist.
This is from the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, and their source is from the MPA.
No, it can't be, but I am reading out. My brother, you can read, listen to what I'm reading out to you. Energy sector shortfall debt.
You don't have to go over all of them again, Kojo, for the sake of time.
So anything else on that board is wrong.
Let me just clarify for you. So you're saying that what the OMCs have provided from the MPA, the last 2 there, and please put it back on the screen so I can read the last 2. You are talking about the distribution. Kojo, can you please relax so we have this conversation? Please relax. Thank you. Now, there's the distribution compensation margin that you see there, which you failed to read.
It's not a tax.
Oh my word.
There are margins for the distributors. It's not a tax.
What was the
caption? LPG administrative cost is not a tax.
What's the caption? What's the caption for the table? What's the caption for the table?
My brother, I am telling, not this table.
Okay, Kojo. Thank you very much. I see
we have to move on.
You are sticking to your guns, so thank you very much, Kojo. You are digging your heels in. Let's bring
Well, still stay with us, though. We've got former Energy Minister Dr. Kwabena Donkor joining us. Doc, thank you for joining us this morning. I'm certain that you've been following the conversation from Parliament all the way till the show this morning. I'll take your reactions on number of taxes or levies that were implemented as of last year or even the years before currently, and whether it is 8 or 10, and even subsequently this 1 liter per fuel that we're going to be paying for. Your reactions, please.
Well, let me make a distinction between a margin and a levy.
Okay.
The margins do not go to government. They go to industry players. The levies go to government. For example, we have the primary distribution margin. It is technically, in technical, does not go to the consolidated fund. It goes to the industry. So that is the major difference. Maybe Kojo was trying to explain that, but probably it didn't come true. So it's the levies that go to government through the consolidated fund or designated fund. My position on the 1 cedi is that as a people, we must, first of all, accept the facts. We can debate implementation, we can debate timing, we can debate methodologies. But the fact is that even using the figure Kojo quoted, the $3.1 billion legacy debt, it is simplistic to assume that the 1 cedi in 2 years, as Kojo was trying to push, must eliminate that debt. We have a major issue that we are not tackling, and which I hope the government will be tackling anytime soon, is that as of today, we are under recovering costs in the power sector. When you under recover costs, you are piling up debt. So first of all, we must eliminate the existing legacy debt. 2 weeks ago, the Minister for Finance had to find about $50 million for car park immediately. Other than that, they were threatening that they couldn't service their loans. Remember, project finance is about equity and loan. The norm is that equity may be 30%, the loan will be 70%. So these IPPs and other players, all those involved in, they have to service their loans. as well. So the Minister of Finance had to cough up money for them because we owe them so much. So we have a situation where we have the legacy debt, 3.1, as stated, but we are also under recovering costs. So we have to do two things. The 1 cedi, I believe, will go towards the under recovery. Will go towards both the under recovery and wiping off the legacy debt. So my expectation is that government will hit hard on the industry to reduce costs. We have to contain costs, and we also have to drive down efficiency. It has to be two-pronged. Whilst we do the financial engineering to take away the legacy debt. You see, if you look at what Ken Ofori-Atta attempted doing, when he collateralized the inflows on the debt from ESLA, unfortunately, he did not use all the monies received to service the debt. There is evidence that it was also used for other administrative governments. That did not help us. But more importantly, steps were not taken to drive down to drive up efficiency and drive down costs. For us to recover costs in any business, when you under recover costs, you will invariably be piling at future debt. It is for that reason that Ministry of Finance has had to purchase fuel for the sector. If we were covering costs, there will not be the need for the Ministry of Finance to purchase fuel, because fuel would have been purchased arise from the revenues of the industry. So we need to tackle two. I am in full support of the 1 cedi, but that will not be enough. We also have to look at the price build-up. Within the price build-up, there must be some savings. And let me put this on record. I believe the UPPF, for example, should go down. There should be some saving out of UPPF, because the biggest single component, the biggest single operating expense on transportation is fuel. So since fuel prices have come down and the private sector, Ghana Private Road Transport Union and other transport organizations have come up with a 15% reduction on the back of the reduced fuel prices. The UPPF, which is essentially for transportation, both the UPPF and the private distribution margin must also come down. So there should be some savings within the existing price build-up. Then we also have to look at some of the administrative margins. Do we still have to maintain that quantum in the light of falling inflation, in the light of falling petroleum prices? If we do that, I believe there can be some savings in the existing price build-up to offset the 1 cedi. But the Ministry of Finance, by our constitutional construct, even if the whole 1 cedi was to come from the price build-up, the Minister of Finance is still obliged by our construct to come to Parliament for this.
Oh, Doug, I don't know if I lost you or if you're still on, but finally, maybe before we let you go, would be that. And so, in short, you support this 1 cedi per litre directive or levy, unlike others who are asking for a consolidation of the existing levies.
I stated that I support it. However, it should not be in isolation.
Okay.
It should go with a conscious attempt to drive down costs, both in the fuel sector and in the power sector. It should also go with a conscious plan to drive up efficiency. And I also stated that within the existing price build-up, there are savings that can be made, particularly on UPPF, the Uniform Petroleum Pricing Fund, and the private distribution margin. there are savings that can be made because these are essentially transport-based. And because the cost of fuel has come down, a part of the savings should go to absorb the 1 cedi. But the Minister of Finance is still obliged by our constitutional construct to come to Parliament in a levy. The suggestion to consolidate the levy, it's a good one, but it will not immediately solve any problem.
Okay.
It will just be administratively more efficient.
Okay. All right.
But, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Doc. Before we go back to Kojo Poku, you wanted to do some clarification on some of that. You want to take a breather? We'll go back.
Kojo is still insisting that there are 8.
The Doc has just also been given some clarity that margins go to the oil marketing company.
But you see, MFA, what we are trying to put across is that when you buy a liter of fuel, there are 10 taxes, margins, or levies, if you want to put it, that you pay. And this, if you count all of them, there are 10 before even the actual price of the product is added. That is the conversation we are having, not the nomenclature. Nomenclature is also very important. But what we are trying to say is that these 10 taxes, levies, or margins that you pay is around 3 cedis, 26 pesos. And that forms about 40% of the fuel price you pay or the export price you pay. Now, because of the reduction, that percentage may even come down. But Kojo is, he is still insisting that because they are not called taxes or levies, maybe, the consumer will ask, Kojo, who is actually paying for these margins? These margins are being paid by consumers. So that's why we actually put all of them together and call them taxes, levies, or margins.
And Kofi, point made. I've seen some interesting comments on the back of all of this, which I'm not going to read anyway, but I think that is where the clarity stands. The build-up of the 10, do they affect what in the end, when I go to the pump, I'm going to pay? That is the bottom line. All 10 of them will reflect. 8 of them will go to government, the other 2 to the OMCs. Yeah. When I go and buy fuel, I'm not asking which component is going to government, which component is going to the OMC. All I'm going to do is fork out that money and pay it. But let me come to you, Duncan Amwa, on some of these developments. Having listened to the former minister and these dynamics, what do you think the approach should be moving forward? Because, like you said, we could have decided then we are making it 3 cedis or even 4 cedis so that we can catch up. But like the former minister said, they are trying to address a hydra-headed problem, deal with the under-recovery, and also help tackle the energy sector debt. It's not something we're going to be able to tackle in a year or even 2. What's your reaction?
So what is happening is this, right? You have a situation where the government concedes that it has a problem with the power sector and something ought to be done. But that which ought to be done is being made to seem as though it is simply financial and that there's no challenge as far as the setup or the power sector distribution challenges is concerned. And so I indicated that in 2015, when we went to Parliament to ask for ESLA, these were the very excuses we had. These were the very justifications we had put forward, to the extent that there's a debt that we would need to be able to pay up and make the sector more efficient. We would need to be able to get the suppliers at the time, the BDCs and the power producers, to be paid. Collection of ESLA for 10 years, whatever we've applied it to, has demonstrated that the collection alone or the taxing of the people resolve the challenges you have. And so it's surprising that for 10 years, we have collected ESLA, proceeds of which we say we have used some to probably defray the BDC legacy debt fair and well. We've not been able to accumulate further within the petroleum sector. simply because it is deregulated. One wonders how we continue to want to regulate the ECG and still act as though we are on top of our game. And so if there's a debt, the Ghanaian people should pay for it. But like the former power minister said, you are dealing with a situation where under recoveries continue to drag you, right? So until somebody comes out to tell me this is what we are doing to resolve under recoveries, which creates in its wake the debt, the mountain debt or the crippling debt, I will not be convinced that just coming out to collect money at the pumps any further, bodes well or gives you any solution on its own. I am not convinced. Again, I insist that if we want to really and truly clear whatever debt, if we are ring fencing that debt, we should be able to at least do some 2-3 Ghana cedis a liter. But a situation where we think, okay, let's go and add something, we go and add something. You crunch the numbers and you are not seeing your way forward. Clearly, it's just about collecting money, maybe like Kojo is trying to say, to refinance, our budget. That will be understood. But if you really want to tackle the power sector issues, right, you would need that Hydra-headed solution. You would need that solution that says that for our under recoveries, we have decided to probably assign this to that. We have decided to deploy some further technology to be able to tell how much power we are losing, the transmission losses that is occasioned, how much power is also stolen, how much some of the foreign companies in Ghana would consume on their meters, right? And then get, officials to come in and cannibalize those meters, right? Running into millions of cedis. Then the rest of us who are law-abiding and want to pay our debt, we are told when you go to the pumps also, you must be paying for electricity. That cannot continue. 10 years is how long ESLA has lasted. 10 years after which the 2.2 billion initial debt anticipated to be covered by ESLA is now 3.1. And yet, like he said, we still have under recoveries, we still have bad management practices within the sector that continues to drag all of us, where we import containers running into thousands, and there's no plan to even clear them, and nobody is held accountable. How long would this continue? I do not know, but again, let's have a proper and a thorough conversation. If you want to resolve the issues within the power sector, I do not believe mere collecting of money will resolve it. Otherwise, we would have resolved it within the past 10 years, and we wouldn't be here at all.
All right, hold for us, Duncan Amwa. We'll be wrapping the conversation in a bit. Kojo Poku, your take on the discussion so far?
Well, the quick one, does your guy in the studio want to say something and apologize to me before I point out the error that he had just posted on screen? Does he want to apologize?
What would that be? We're moderating this here.
Him. He should apologize to me because he has corrected the mistake he made. He has posted it on screen, so he should apologize.
I don't get Kojo.
Kojo, explain to me. Kofi, let me moderate this.
Is there something he wants to apologize for?
Not at all.
Okay.
But he says there's nothing he wants to apologize for.
Kojo, to be fair, we moderate the conversation here.
He says there's nothing he wants to apologize for. Please move the conversation forward.
So let me point it out. The gas components that he put it on the fuel that made it 10, he has now moved it to gas. So now, if you add the levies and taxes, it's 8. He just posted it on screen. So I think it's only fair that he post it on screen and apologize.
What exactly has changed?
You lost me, yeah.
Okay, I let him post, when Duncan was speaking, let him post the thing that he posted on screen. Let him post it again.
He's not posting it himself as standing here, if you know the dynamics of...
Can the studio post it? You remember that I said there were only 8 components. He says there were 10. He had added taxes and stuff that were for gas under diesel and petrol. He has now moved it to gas. So now what he posted is only 8 components in petrol and diesel. So at least I'm right. So you should apologize.
I'm still standing here. I've not moved to the back room. I'm still here. I've not added anything. Okay, what I showed is what I showed in the first place. I have nothing to apologize. I have nothing to apologize. I think you should rather apologize.
That's
all right, Kofi.
Let me make my submission.
Thank you very much for all your thoughts. We'd like to thank all of you gentlemen for joining the conversation. Duncan Amwa is Executive Secretary, Chamber of Petroleum Consumers. We had Kojo Poku, an energy analyst, and we also had a former power minister joining the conversation as well. We're grateful for your time. Do stick and stay with us. We'll be back with more action right here on the AM show.
Hello there, welcome back to the AM show, and if you've been with us all through, thank you for staying. Today on Climate Focus, once discarded as trash, plastic is now paying the bills for some of Accra's most determined workers. At Old Lavender Hill in Koligono, a former dumping ground is now a place of new beginnings. Among them is Victoria Kugali, a plastic collector and mother of 3, who is rebuilding her life on plastics. Jemima Ando has more in our Climate Focus series.
Victoria Kugali never imagined she would find her job in a place most people avoid: plastic recycling. She came to Accra from the Volta region not to sort trash, but to rebuild her future.
I was a student, but I couldn't complete my education. I came here trying to find something to do so that I can continue with my education, but all happened when I became pregnant, so I have to stop. And now I'm a mother of 3 kids.
With no one to turn to and no stable income enough to feed her family, Victoria tried many things. The money was never enough until she found work at Asante Recycling Enterprise.
As I entered into the recycling business, I think things are okay for me now. I can take out the kids. Though it's not easy for me, but it's far, far better than the other one that I've engaged myself in. And moreover too, I've done this work for 6 to 7 years now. Here, I'm a worker and at the same time an assistant as a supervisor.
Victoria is one of dozens working here at Old Lavender Hills in Koligono, where plastic waste has turned into jobs and a cleaner environment. Once a symbol of Accra's waste management failure, this area is now home to one of the capital's most impactful recycling efforts.
The way the rubbers and everything go to the gutter, and then we discuss when to take it. After we take it and sell for the people, after we decide we want to buy the machine, and then we recycle it, crash it, and then we sell for people.
In a city where plastic often blocks drains and litters the streets, every bottle recycled here helps make Accra cleaner. The impact goes beyond the facility walls. In the alleyways of Accra, waste collector Michael Odate fuels this ecosystem.
This plastic rubbers, not only this one there, you can collect. Even bottles and things, the other things, you can gain to get money. So I'm telling my friends other out, say they must come and join us to do this work. Then everybody will get some small money. But when they are outside there and they say government, that government cannot give you work. You must work and find a job to do.
For women like Victoria, recycling is not just survival, it is a source of pride. She still dreams of becoming a nurse or an accountant.
I've also gathered some small money that I'll be using to be buying the goods. Because me working for someone to pay me alone cannot cater for my kids. It will not suffice me. So I decided at least when I have like maybe 1,000, I can buy goods and I can get interest. And through that interest, I can save some and I can also use some to cater for my kids and myself. I wish I can continue with my education. There are works in Ghana that when we do, we can cater for ourselves and our kids without even burdening ourselves to travel outside. This Ghana here, we can work here and and take care of our kids.
In a country still battling plastic pollution and youth unemployment, Victoria Kogali is not just sorting waste. She's rebuilding her life, one bottle at a time. For her, each discarded plastic is not trash. It's a chance to provide, to grow, and to keep hope alive. Jemima Anders' report read to you.
Climate Focus is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with Youth Bridge Foundation, Bridging Gaps for Positive Youth Development, and the Climate Development Knowledge Network.
Thank you for staying with us here on the AM show. So we're in the month of June, and 19th of June, the world will be celebrating sickle cell, those who've survived it, and even create more awareness. But even better, over here in Ghana, the Ghana Institute of Clinical Genetics tells us how far they have come in dealing with the issue of sickle cell and all you need to know about marking their 50 years of existence over here in this country. I bet you didn't know. Well, yeah. This morning, we're joined by Mrs. Josephine Otu, public health nurse, and as well, Dr. Alpha Chumesi, Otain hematologist. Just before we came on, I was just telling Dr. Alpha that he's the first person I'm hearing bears the name Alpha. And does he even often hear people call Alpha? But thank you for making time to join us today on the show.
Okay. Thank you for having us.
Every time we hear sickle cell, for me personally, I know that we've made some great strides in there, but it still sends shivers down my spine because it feels like it is almost a death sentence for somebody if they've been diagnosed of sickle cell. But today, let's get to learn a few things. Let's also get people to understand the genetics and all the factors that will contribute to it. I'll start with you, Dr. Josephine, or you'd prefer Dr. Otu? Dr. Otu, okay, all right, Doc. Let me come to you and find out first, really, what really is sickle cell?
Okay. All right. Thank you, first of all, for having us on the show. So sickle cell disease is a genetic disorder, meaning it is inherited. It's not like those that are acquired, like hypertension or diabetes. This one is inherited. And it's inherited in a pattern where you require both parents to either have the disease or be carriers of the disease. And then the affected individual, which is the child, tends to bear the disease itself. Basically, it affects a part of the blood known as hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is the essential part of blood that carries oxygen up and down. So when you have that being affected, then it leads to so many issues, complications for the patients. Primarily, what most of them tend to develop is pain, especially in the bones. And if it doesn't affect the bones, it also affects the other organs. So they tend to have complications that go on in the hundreds, possibly. So sickle cell primarily is a disease of the blood, affects the hemoglobin, and it is inherited.
Okay, at least now you have told us the cause, who can be diagnosed, and what the sickle cell for you as well. But let me go to you, who is a public health nurse. On the conversation of sickle cell, would you say that we've made some great or positive impact as a country?
Well, when you take when you take 100 newborn kids, every 2 kids or babies are diagnosed with sickle cell disease. And so with more advanced instruments, we are able to diagnose kids or newborns with sickle cell diseases.
Okay, I'll come back to Doug, and before we even continue with the public health sector side, so let's go into the causes more. You just said that it's in the blood. When I get curious, and I know you don't like us going to Google to go and be learning things, but when I get curious and I go into Google, I know that there's so many components in the blood and all of that. But genetically, it means that a person must be predisposed. Does that mean that?
Okay, not exactly predisposed
okay.
in the exact meaning of that word, but you need to have 2 adults who have the gene. So they either could be carriers of the disease or they could have the disease itself.
Okay.
So speaking of that, there are two forms of the disease. There's a carrier state where you've inherited only one copy of the gene, and then there's the disease state where you have two copies. So, and the way the genetics works out is that if you have two people who are both carriers, they have a chance of passing on one of their defective genes to their offspring. So you can have an AS and another AS person, and they could pass on S, each of them could pass on the S to the child. So the child ends up being an SS child.
I see.
If you have maybe an AS and then another SS, that other parent definitely has the disease, then you have a greater chance of even passing on two S's to the child for them to have the disease. So maybe I'll say predisposing factor would be having parents who either carry the gene or they have the full-blown disease.
Okay, you've gone into the conversation of genetics, where the alphabets start to play in. And so what are genetics and why is it important? Okay,
so genetics basically deals with the study of genes. Genes are primarily what make us unique in our own being. So everyone inherits their genes from their parents, and the gene in question is what is causing the sickle cell. It's a mutated gene or dysfunctional or defective gene, and that is what is causing the sickle cell disease. The problem is big on this part of Africa because through evolution, a lot of people developed the AS genotype, and that was primarily a protective mechanism against malaria, because malaria is endemic in this part of the world. So a lot of people have AS here than other parts of the world. Then as you have AS pairing up, then you tend to have more SS in the system. There are other ones such as C. You may meet someone who has SC or AC, that's for the carrier state, or SC for the disease state. So they are also there as well. So you can have an AS, an AC, SS, SC, different combinations, depending on who your parents are, basically, and how you inherit. And the inheritance is totally random. So
I like how you're saying it with a smile, but I'm so afraid.
It's totally random.
It's random. So a parent can have like 10 children. Then out of that 10, what? Like one of them?
All of them could be SS, all of them could be AA, all of them could be AS. Once those two parents are either carriers or they have the disease. If they are AA, that means they are non-sickle cell, then the conversation is totally different. But once both parents either have the carrier state or the disease state, then there's a chance of having a sickle cell.
What's the percentage of the chance?
Okay. Yes.
Sorry?
That's if you have an AS mother and an AS father, then you have a 1 out of 4 chance of having an SS. And you have a 50% chance of having AS, and then a 1 out of 4 chance of having an AA.
Okay. Josephine, though, in the hospital, I mean, when people who have been diagnosed of sickle cell show up, what kind of symptoms do they show up with?
So most of them usually comes with body pains. And then there's something that we call acute chest syndrome. And so normally they come with chest pains, back pains, lower back pains, and then cough. We also have people coming with being anemic. And so thorough screenings are done for us to detect the level of their blood. And then if there need be for us to transfuse them, we do transfuse them. And then those that are to be managed on medications, we manage them. Apparently, we don't admit. We only detain them for some time. So let's say 4 or 5 hours. And then after they are okay, we discharge them. For those of them who are not able to recover, we normally transfer them to higher level for them to be seen.
Okay. I'm back in the consulting room, Doc. So by this time, they would have been diagnosed already, but I'm curious about the diagnosis, how you arrive at the diagnosis.
Okay. All right, that's important because most of us would be aware of something called the sickling test. It's widely done in secondary schools. That's a limited screening tool. The appropriate test to be done is called the HB electrophoresis. That's the test that ideally you should ask your doctor or walk into a hospital to get done. Because this test will determine what kind of genotype you have. If you have AS, if you have SS, SC, all the other types of hemoglobins. There are other abnormal ones. They are not in the large numbers like S and C. But once you do your HB electrophoresis, we'll be able to tell to a much greater detail what kind of hemoglobin you have, unlike the sickling test that a lot of people are used to. That could give you a false result.
Okay.
It's only picking up the S. So if you have AC, for example, you might be negative, and you think you're okay, you meet an AS lady, you fall in love and marry, and then you have an SC child, and that's the problem. So the test will be HB electrophoresis. HB electrophoresis.
Okay. Say that test again, because I'm certain you want to take your pen and paper and write it, so when you go to the hospital, you ask for that particular test. Say it again, though.
So HB
Hemoglobin
electrophoresis.
And I'm kind of send it to me. I still can't keep it in my head. Okay, now let's even, knowing this, and of course we cannot learn all about sickle cell here on the show, and this is why you may encourage people to want to walk in to do a test and all of that, especially if you're planning on falling in love, or you're already in love, you're planning to make babies. But let's talk about the challenge as a country here. How well have we done in creating awareness or even the fight or trying to manage sickle cell as a health condition in Ghana, Doc?
Okay. How well we've done, not so well. The voices that have spoken for sickle cell are few. So you have people who are in a position to maybe do something about it, but they may either not know or have enough information. So we do need a lot of help in terms of advocacy. So in terms of education, trying to prevent the disease itself, not so well. So that's one of the reasons why we are coming out this year. Let's come and celebrate 50 years out with everybody so that we can all know that sickle cell is real. It's affecting a lot of people. As Josephine said, 2 out of every 100 births, 2 children have the disease, and it's a big problem.
That's a big problem. Josephine, in your clinic particularly, what differently are you doing in terms of holistic approach? In your clinic, what are you doing?
So in the clinic, we normally do counseling and education a lot. So we educate all patients and caregivers that visit the clinic. We talk about sickle cell, the signs and symptoms of sickle cell disease, and how to manage or prevent the occurrences of the crisis. And then we also do genetic counseling for people that are interested in getting married. We counsel them on the genotypes, and then for them to consider it very well and then take decisions before getting married.
Okay. What about those who have already been diagnosed? At your clinic, do you do anything special as well for them?
Yes. So as she said, the education, counseling is very much at the forefront of the care. For those who have already been diagnosed, so what we do is we teach them how they can prevent the crisis that usually comes with sickle cell disease. You can have sickle cell disease and to a very large extent live quite a healthy, normal life. I mean, previously, sickle cell was a death sentence, as you said in your intro. But we do have patients in our clinic in their 6th decade, 7th decade, 8th decade, coming for reviews. And over time, through research, we found ways and means of staying healthy as a sickle cell disease patient. So we go very much in that direction, preventing the crisis first of all, so that you don't have to be rushed in every now and then with pain, or even develop the complications that we're worried about.
So should I believe the theories that I've been reading about in the news? Is there hope? Can we now cure sickle cell? I like the smell. I like the smile on both of your faces.
Well, this smile is not a smile of disbelief, it's a smile of hope.
Okay.
So yes, there is technically a cure for sickle cell disease, and that would be to have stem cell treatment. That is, however, not available in the country. It's available outside, but quite expensive. What we have in there is rather we have newer medications. Some of them are still in the stage of research. Some of them are already out. A drug like hydroxyurea, which helps to minimize the crisis for a lot of people, and then manage the anemia that Josephine also spoke of, like in terms of how often your blood drops for which you need blood and all that. Beyond that, we also encourage them to be on their routine medications, folic acid, multivitamin, adequate hydration, and then our main gun in this is the education.
Okay.
Eat well, rest well, drink enough. We show you what to avoid.
Okay, Josephine, so this year, the theme at the hospital, tell me about it. How you celebrated 50 years? I can't believe that you've been doing this way years before I was born. Congratulations, really.
Thank you very much. So this year, we are 50 years old, and then the theme for our celebration is shining light on sickle cell, creating awareness and advocacy. And so we are admonishing that individuals and then stakeholders, governments and NGOs who come to our aid, because 50 years of we being in existence is a lot, but we need more help. We need more infrastructures so that it will enhance our care that we give. Apparently, we don't admit our patients, and so whenever it happens like that, they have to either go home and then come back again, or we refer them to.
In fact, a minute on that. This non-admission of patients, is it a clinic directive, or it is what the illness requires, or it depends, it's a case-by-case matter?
It's the way the clinic is set up.
Okay.
So as she said, we need the infrastructure and the support.
Oh, so if you had the chance, you'd admit?
Yes.
If you had the infrastructure, you would.
So it's basically a day clinic where we manage the emergencies. About 90% of them will do well within the period they are with us. Thankfully, we have very dedicated doctors and nurses at the clinic. Sometimes some of them stay for hours just with one patient to make sure they are fine before they are discharged. But for the few cases, like she mentioned one complication earlier, acute chest syndrome, which is like a very severe form of pneumonia, you may need admission for that. So for something like that, no matter how long we stay with you, we'll still have to admit you to the main emergency at Collywood Teaching Hospital.
Okay, okay, please proceed.
Okay, so, and then also we have patients coming in with, we have patients coming in with low socioeconomic status. And for such patients, we have to be running their hospital bills and all that for them. And so we are calling on all stakeholders to come in. Though they, normally there are fewer people or individuals that donate some form of cash for us to manage. But of course, we cannot depend on those monies alone. For us at our Ghana Institute of Clinical Genetics, we depend on our NHIS.
Okay.
So that one alone too is not sustainable. For how long are we going to be on NHIS to cater for our patients? And so we advise that individuals out there, we advise that government and non-governmental agencies... Just when
you like yourself on the screen, huh?
Come to our aid to support the clinic and then get the necessary things for us.
That you would need at the clinic.
Exactly.
Okay. But Doc, so this, the celebration, are there any activities planned, if you can run me through quickly?
Yes, we do have. So on 14th of June, before the World Sickle Cell Day, we have a float. We'll go out through the communities, through the principal streets of Accra, just to make some more noise about our birthday, and then also educate people one-on-one. We'll share tracts and the rest. 19th of June on our premises, we'll celebrate World Sickle Cell Day and also launch our 50th anniversary. Then in the month of July and August, we have a lot of outreaches. Some of them are school-based, some of them are community-based as well. And then finally, we have health screening as well.
On the 14th or on the 19th?
No, beyond the 14th.
Okay.
That would be nice.
Very importantly, I have to mention on the 14th as well, we're partnering with the National Blood Service Ghana to organize a blood donation exercise, because sickle cell patients tend to require blood quite often, and we would want to do our bit in ensuring that there's enough blood. So there is a blood donation exercise alongside the launch and celebration of World Sickle Cell Day at the premises of the clinic.
Okay, I'm certain we can have this conversation on and on and on, but I'm certain would either be there 14th or 19th to be able to throw more light on the activities that you're doing at the clinic. But thank you, Doctor.
And then also in October, there is fundraising and dinner.
What can you say? I don't forget to. When you say it's now, what would you do? Okay, but thank you. October what?
October, the date is not yet fixed.
Okay, all right. We'll put that in our diaries. Thank you so much for joining us today. Wish you all the best on the 14th, the 19th. You have another thing to say?
Yeah. So for those of us that want to sponsor our celebration or help in one way or the other, can we put our numbers there? Yeah. So 05543 11450, 05543 11540, and then we also have 02096268667. All sponsors are welcome.
Of course, please, Josephine really needs the sponsorship. Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you so much, Josephine, as well. I'll not forget your name. Dr. Alpha Chumisi Oteng is a hematologist. Thank you so much for joining us today. You're still watching the AM show. We're nearly wrapping, but I want to say happy birthday to Mr. William Danso of Send Ghana. God bless you so much. And this is coming from our producer here, Mr. Otu, Kingsley Otu. And as well, a happy birthday to you, Pastor Mauli. So happy birthday from Pastor Mauli at MGL to Reverend Francis Kwamezo. Reverend Francis Kwamezo, the esteemed lead pastor of New Life Assemblies of God. It's your birthday, happy birthday, and this one is from Pastor Mauli here at MGL. As well, get ready for the 7th Ghana Football Awards. Join us on the June 14th at the Palms Convention Center for a night of excitement, glamour, and celebration of Ghana's finest football stars. Let's unite the nation once again through football. Ghana Football Awards is a Football Impact Africa initiative powered by Activate 360 and proudly supported by the Multimedia Group and AE Mediacom. Ghana Football Awards, celebrating the stars of our passion. Please stay with us. Well, before I go, conference, the Chartered Institute of Human Resource Management, Ghana, present the CIHRM 2025 conference on June 18th to 19th, 2025 at the Alisa Hotel. And the theme is Regulating HRM in Ghana, Standards, Ethics and Sustainability. Conference rate as well. Members will be 3,200 Ghana cedis. 3,200 Ghana cedis, and non-members will be 4,000 Ghana cedis. And then for students, you have a discount, it's 2,000 Ghana cedis. You want to register now via the CIHRM website or at CIHRM Ghana on Facebook, LinkedIn, and X as well. They can contact them on 0243 78690 or 020-811-2 for group registration and discounts. Now, CIHRM, transforming work and workplaces. You want to stay with us? We'll be back shortly.
Well, this is how we get ready to say goodbye to you and leave you in the hands of the Joy News Desk crew. But it's been exciting doing this together with MFA Akosia Aditi.
The man with the gunshot at the end of his name, Mr. Akako.
You're saying this on air.
Yes, always a pleasure coming your way as well. Please stay for Joy News Desk and as well more news on myjoyonline.com.